entertainment. After 3 years of seclusion, he was exposed by his daughter. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 226. Everything is in order, so good. On August 25th, I will participate in the finals of The Singer's Journey. I hope we'll show up at that time. In the finals, I will also work with key guests to bring new songs. I hope you like it. This is the content of Lin Fei's entire Weibo. At this time, Lin Fei sent it directly and stopped paying too much attention to it. Xiaoba, on the other hand, looked at the operations team of Lin Fei studio beside him and nodded. Everyone nodded seriously, and for a while, the entire operations team began to promote this Weibo content. I have listened to all of Brother Lin's new songs, and they are so good. OU. Much. Xiao Fei's new song is definitely not to be missed. I hope everyone can support it when the time comes. Zhang Hang, I'm humming Brother Lin's new songs in the kitchen every day. It is really enjoyable to be able to hear them in advance. Similarly, Lin Fei's friends also expressed their support for Lin Fei. Pointy Yun. Lin Fei is often jokingly called prolific by his fans. Now I see that he is indeed well deserved. Huang Fei, support. I can't wait. Lin Fei, please come back early. Let's have dinner together. You do it. Haha. Zhang Mao, I support the new songs. I must listen to them all tonight. By the way, I will promote it. After Lin Fei's solo concert at the end of August, I will start shooting a new movie in early September. Lin Fei will be the star of the new movie. The leading actors are participating in the introduction, and I hope everyone will pay more attention. Well-known figures in the entertainment industry expressed their opinions one after another. Among them, there were people Lin Fei was familiar with, such as Yang Zixin and Zhang Dashan. There are also stars that Lin Fei has never been exposed to, but who like Lin Fei's works very much. For a moment, everyone focused their attention on Lin Fei. Everyone really has only one idea now. Lin Fei may not be described as productive. Such a versatile artist is already beyond description. Strong. With such talent, no wonder he is so popular. Finally, the time came to 7 o'clock, and with Xiaoba's order, Lin Fei's 15 songs were ushered in on multiple music platforms across the internet. A group of people who had been paying attention to this matter for a long time listened without hesitation. Everyone discovered that Lin Fei's 15 songs are really different in style than each song has its own unique style, which instantly amazed everyone. This, everyone felt that they no longer knew what words to use to describe Lin Fei. So, under the comments of each song, there was a sentence. Fuck. I kept brushing neatly, and the score was also rising rapidly. At this time, in the room, where everyone was resting in Zixili Island, Xiaoba and others had already left, looked at the time and smiled. Okay, how about we take a rest first? Anyway, you have heard this song many times. We will be busy tomorrow. I guess we will be even more tired tomorrow. Haha, okay, let's rest then. You going to post 15 songs all at once? Aren't you trying to kill me? Looking at it, Lin Fei was a little confused. Huh? What does that mean? Soon, the news about Shang Xichen made Lin Fei dumbfounded. I was actually planning to release a new song tomorrow, but I'm just posting it now. I guess you'll have to dominate the charts tomorrow. Forget it, I'll postpone it for a week. Ha. Ha. Lin Fei burst out laughing when he saw it. You think there's nothing I can do about it? I can only say it's just a coincidence. Haha, your life is also bad, so just release it next week. I'll help you promote it then. That's pretty much it. When will you come back? Let's have some drinks then. Okay, I'll contact you when I'm not busy. After chatting, Lin Fei put down his phone and prepared to wash up. Ring, ring, ring. As a result, before walking into the bathroom, the phone rang again. Who is it again? Lin Fei looked helpless, returning to the bedside. Lin Fei picked up his cell phone. Looking at the unfamiliar number displayed above, Lin Fei was confused. Phone number you don't recognize. This is Lin Fei, who was a little confused, picked up the answer directly. Hello. I'm Lin Fei. Hello, Mr. Lin. I'm Tan Feng. I don't know. Do you still remember me, Tan Feng? Lin Fei muttered to himself and finally reacted. Ah. Remember. How can I not remember it? Haha. Now that you called me, I think I should know your answer. Yes, Mr. Lin, I have made up my mind, but I have to trouble you. What's the trouble? Haha. Lin Fei smiled happily. To be honest, I helped you at the beginning, because I saw that your values of love were really great, and I also saw my shadow in you, so I also hope that you will get married. In that case. Lin Fei thought for a moment and finally spoke. I guess you know about my concert on August 31st. I know. Okay. Lin Fei nodded with satisfaction. Come over with her at that time. I will help you to confess successfully. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Lin. You're welcome. After hanging up the phone, Lin Fei smiled in an orderly manner. Very good. Chapter 227. Finale. Sign in and get skills. Early in the morning, everyone heard Tang Xiaochu shouting with a loudspeaker in the living room downstairs. For a moment, everyone was very helpless. This is the last day, and he is still bothering. But for everyone, it doesn't matter. After all, today is a very important day for the program team. The table. Everyone was in high spirits. Looking at everyone, Tang Xiaochu smiled. Everyone, today is the last day for us. I'm very happy that has persisted for 21 days. This is also a kind of tempering for us. In the future, if everyone has time and opportunity, let's get together again. Haha. No problem. Everyone laughed. More than 20 days of running and have already improved the relationship between. Being able to get to know these good friends is a good thing for everyone. Point of Zhang Hang soon laughed out hard. Everyone looked at Zhang Hang like this and was puzzled for a while. What happened to Zhang Hang? Brother Lin, do you know what your fans are saying about you online now? Ah, what about me? For a while, Lin Fei was also very confused. These words really made Lin Fei confused. But soon, when Zhang Hang turned his phone over, everyone laughed out loud. Fei, a man who is as prolific as a sow. Puff. Suddenly, seeing such a hot search, Lin Fei almost spit out the soup in his mouth. Obviously, this is not the first time Lin Fei has seen such comments about himself. But damn, do you want to go directly to the hot search this time? Lin Fei was very upset and took out his phone helplessly, still mumbling. These fans just know how to find things for me to do. What kind of description is this? But, when looking at the content in the Weibo, Lin Fei laughed. Inside, all kinds of well-known music critics comments on him. And the songs involved in these comments are all the songs in the Life album uploaded by Lin Fei yesterday. Everyone has a high evaluation of these songs. Some people even call it music that can open up a new era. 9th hot search. At this time, a word explosion appeared behind this hot search. This obviously proves that such a hot search is rising rapidly. Such a surge in popularity surprised Lin Fei. And the name of the hot search also made Lin Fei happy. Lin Fei's 17 songs, all on the list. Lin Fei smiled when he saw it. A Vacuumeo data group can see such a heavy news today, and this news obviously makes us feel excited now. Yes, we have seen a great spectacle of the Dragon Country music scene. We have never imagined this phenomenon from beginning to end. Lin Fei is really a magical man. Yesterday, he uploaded 15 songs from his album, and as of 6 o'clock this morning, our song ranking list changed. I can tell you with certainty that Lin Fei currently has a total of 17 songs, all of which have entered the top 19 of the new song list and the hot song list. Yes, it is the top 19. Our list is the top 30, which means that all of Lin Fei's songs are on the list, dominating the list. Let us cheer for this important moment. Seeing such a Weibo content, Lin Fei suddenly smiled. It looks pretty good. This result is pretty good. Pretty good. Oh, Yumuj curled his lips at the side. This is more than good. This is simply too good. Yes. Tang Xiaochu was also flipping through his phone. I took a look. On Cool Cat, the third song on the new song list is Tang Xin song, and the 7th is Shang Xichen's song. The ranking of the hot song list is similar. Brother Lin, looking at Lin Fei, Tang Xiaochu blurted out a sentence after a long time. You really pioneered the Dragon Country music scene. I think you should be remembered by all singers and fans. Low-key. Haha, Lin Fei wanted to be low-key. However, the excitement in his heart could not be concealed no matter what. In the end, Lin Fei laughed. For a while, the people around him also laughed. Everyone was very happy at this time. After all, such a ranking proves Lin Fei's strength. Finally, everyone was happy, and Tang Xiaochu spoke. Everyone, today is our finale, and our task today is to purchase ingredients in the morning. At 12:30 noon, we will set up 100 seats on the beach in front of the restaurant. All today meals are free. At that time, we will also dine with the diners, which can be regarded as spending the last time with everyone. So, making 100 meals at a time is very tiring for us, and I hope everyone can stick to it. No problem. Then let's go now. Okay, let's go. Welcome to the battle of receiving the commander. This time, but they could still see the reluctance in his eyes. After all, after more than 20 days of getting along, they had to separate like this. For anyone, it might be impossible to accept the sadness of parting. Lin Fei was the same. He felt empty in his heart the whole morning. Even though he knew he would see her again in the future, he still felt a little sad. Skills again. Chapter 228, Departure to Gramont Manor. Move. Lin Fei really didn't know what to say at this time point. It's really hard for me. During this period, Lin Fei even doubted whether he was a non-chief point. What's special these days of signing in are giving yourself money every day point. If it were at the beginning, Lin Fei might still be looking forward to whether the money would be a critical hit point, but later, after Lin Fei received an invitation from the Nagraman family, he was able to obtain 1 billion at once, which can be said to have completely solved Lin Fei's current money troubles. Therefore, for Lin Fei, he still hopes that he can acquire some skills again. After all, art does not overwhelm the body. And now, the skill is finally here. Only. Lin Fei curled his lips. Skill. Lin Fei suspected that he was messing with himself. Damn it, what does this skill do for you? Is it easy for you? I'm a chef who can sing and act. You want me to be proficient in firearms? What do I use him for? Do you want to go to the amusement park to play balloons? For a moment, Lin Fei was very helpless. It's okay now. I guess this skill is really a bit useless. After thinking about it, Lin Fei curled his lips and didn't want to say anything else. Point in this way, everyone got busy quickly, and what Lin Fei prepared this time was also a big pot of rice. After all, there are too many people coming this time. If Lin Fei still used the ordinary small pot to make it, he might be able to make it in the year of the monkey and the month of the horse. As for the big pot dishes, compared to normal stir-fry dishes, the taste will definitely be much different. However, after Lin Fei cooked it with all his strength, such a smell was instantly released. For today's finale, Lin Fei could be said to have tried his best. Quick, everyone, come and help. Outside, following Tang Xiaochu's shout, a group of people and staff from the program team came out one after another and began to place tables, chairs, and parasols for 100 seats in front of the restaurant. Point finally, not long after, the beach was completely laid out and a sign was erected in front. A restaurant ends today. A limited number of 100 meals are provided for free. Let's welcome the final day of the show together. Soon, such a brand. At 12:30 noon, Tang Xiaochu stood at the door of the restaurant and shouted loudly. Hearing this, Lin Fei in the kitchen responded repeatedly, Now, give me 10 more minutes. As he spoke, Lin Fei's hands kept moving. Under the live broadcast of the camera, Lin Fei's hands danced rapidly. The muscles on Lin Fei's arms were bulging high, and the dishes in the big pot were flying up and down at this time. His tongue. I'm really busy today. I wish I had known I would ask for leave. Brother Liu, give me the starch juice. Haha. Here we come, chef. Liu listened and quickly took the starch juice that had been prepared from the side. Zhang Hang, who was beside him, was also wiping the sweat from his forehead. Hey, let's work hard to promote the food culture of Dragon Kingdom. It's the last day anyway. Yes. As he spoke, Lin Fei's hand movements accelerated again. Finally, done. 10 minutes later, Lin Fei put the food in the pot into a basin nearby, and then walked out with Chef Zhang Hang and Chef Liu, each holding a basin. The three of them served twice, a total of 4, a soup, and a basin of rice. Looking at the lineup of food stalls outside, Lin Fei laughed. Everyone, welcome to our final day today, and what I want to show you today is the charm of our Dragon Kingdom's cauldron dishes. Without further ado, let's serve. As everyone was busy, everyone's meals were served. When everyone tasted the food on the plate in front of them, their eyes widened. The taste of this dish, simply delicious. For a moment, started gobbling up the food. Finally, at around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, everyone was full and full came to the front of 100 people, and without any nonsense, Tang Xiaochu spoke directly. Everybody, I would like to announce that this season of a restaurant has officially come to an end. Thank you all for your support and recognition of us over the past 21 days. During these 21 days, we have had laughter, tears, sweat, and persistence, and at the same time, we also have you. At the same time, we also hope that in the future, you will like the food culture of Languo. We Languo always welcome everyone to taste it. Finally, on behalf of all the restaurant employees, I thank you for your support. Swish. After speaking, all the guests in the restaurant bowed one after another, and everyone's expression was extremely sincere. Hua, la la, and Ujaya restaurant. This season also ushered in the final recording amid the strong applause of the 100 people. Point with the director's sound card. All the live broadcast cameras were turned off at this time. Point in the barrage of the live broadcast room. People had already cried. Everyone has been with them for so many days, and today, they are leaving. Everyone is endlessly reluctant. On Weibo, a hot search for when Lin Fei will participate in the show followed is rising crazily. In the evening, the airport of Zixili Island. Jia, go back with your Aunt Oumuge first. When the time comes, your Aunt Oumuge will take you to her house. Dad will come to pick you up then. Okay, then Dad, you have to hurry up. Muge and others to board the plane back to China. Lin Fei waved his hand and watched leave. His eyes instantly darkened. In fact, Lin Fei also wanted to take Lin Jia with him. The plane to Eagle Country is about to board. Please be ready. Sound from the sky above the airport. Lin Fei's eyes were extremely firm. What is coming will still come. Let's go. Meet the Killer Barrett. Chapter 229. Meeting with Lake Emery. At the entrance, Lin Fei showed his boarding pass and was led by a dedicated person to the plane heading to Eagle Country. Walking on the road, Lin Fei kept looking at the people around him. There are all kinds of things, everything. Everyone looked indifferent at this time, but Lin Fei was worried at this time. Arriving on the plane, Lin Fei's cell phone rang again. He picked it up and saw that it was the message from Chengxing. I don't know where exactly he is now, but what is certain is that he has not left here. After seeing such news, Lin Fei finally relaxed and nodded. Perhaps this is the best news for him right now, because this will prove that no one came back to disturb Lin Fei on his flight to Eagle Country. This is good news. I will be safe on this journey and can recharge my batteries. After all, Chengxing had told Lin Fei before that killers like to act alone. Only in this way can they escape unscathed. Of course, it is undeniable that there are many combinations among killers. They like to work together and secretly to achieve surprising results. Apparently, though, that's not the case for Barrett George McCaw. This is a being who always likes to fight alone, and the bullets in his gun never let go of any of his targets. Such people are terrible, so terrible that it makes people suffocate. Prepare. Just like that, the plane took off and everyone was doing their own things. Seeing that the scenery outside was slowly shrinking, Lin Fei pondered for a moment and finally closed his eyes. He needed to recharge his batteries, because Lin Fei knew that it would be night when he arrived at Eagle Country, whether he will encounter that person. After arriving at the place, thinking about it, Lin Fei forced himself to fall asleep. At this time, some rustling sounds around him had been completely blocked, and the whole person had entered a very relaxed state. Enjoy this rare time. Lin Fei didn't know how long he slept this time. He only knew that when he woke up, he had already felt the plane descending. Lin Fei opened the visor and looked outside. I saw that the lights outside were already bright at this time. Wherever Lin Fei looked, he could vaguely see the lights of thousands of houses outside. Brush. Raising his hand, Lin Fei looked at the time and saw that it was already 10 o'clock in the evening. Now Lin Fei was already very energetic. Laugh. As a sound sounded, the plane finally landed. After passing through a long deceleration road, the plane stopped smoothly. However, just when Lin Fei opened his seatbelt, he suddenly saw someone turning his attention to him. Left point, blonde hair, blue eyes, cherry mouth, and delicate skin. Point at this time, Lin Fei frowned as he looked at the woman. Point he saw the woman's eyes full of joy. Point what's the meaning? Very meow. Could this be the George McCall, or is this person his accomplice? But how is this possible? Didn't Cheng Xing say that George McCall would not have his own companion? For a moment, Lin Fei became nervous all over his body. Point at this time, he had already begun to think about what he should do next. Point because he had already seen the woman stand up. Point opening her backpack, the woman rummaged around inside while walking slowly towards Lin Fei without stopping. Point for a moment, Lin Fei's muscles all over his body bulged and his fists were clenched hard. Point at this time, Lin Fei had already realized that something was wrong. Point this woman's goal is herself. Point as expected, I saw that after a few seconds. The woman had already arrived in front of Lin Fei. Point it looked like the woman was about to pull out her hand, and the muscles on her arm proved that the woman was holding something in her hand at this time. Brush. In an instant, Lin Fei moved. With a quick punch, Lin Fei was about to hit the woman's arm with his fist. Point however, just for a moment, Lin Fei stopped moving. Point looking at the card in the woman's hand, Lin Fei was stunned. Hello, sir, may I be your friend? Seeing that there was a name and a phone number on the card, Lin Fei's head was filled with black lines. Roll. After uttering one word lightly, Lin Fei stood up, turned around and left. The woman obviously didn't expect that Lin Fei would treat her like this. What's the matter? Don't you look good? Impossible. For a moment, the woman wanted to catch up again, but found that Lin Fei had already disappeared. HMPH. I will definitely see you again in the future. I will never let you escape from my palm. The woman stamped her feet and left. Point looking at Lin Fei again. He was already highly nervous when he got off the plane. Point his eyes have always been paying attention to the situation around him. At this time, Lin Fei was already highly nervous in this bright airport. There were all kinds of people around him, but Lin Fei found that no one was paying attention to him. Could it be George McCall is not here? While thinking, Lin Fei quickened his pace and walked towards the exit. Soon, when he arrived at the exit, Lin Fei saw a familiar person. Mr. Lin, welcome to Eagle Country. Let's get in the car. Mr. George has been waiting at the manor for a long time. Looking at Leckham, Lin Fei smiled. After checking that there was no danger around him, Lin Fei nodded. Okay, let's go. The two walked out. Soon, they arrived at the parking lot and saw a luxurious black car. Next to the car, a man in a suit and a big baseball cap made it difficult to see his face. When they arrived next to the car, the man opened the door, got in first, and closed the door directly. Lin Fei was confused. Point what the hell? Shouldn't he open the door for me? What about the treatment? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 230, Gun in the Suburbs. Lin Fei turned his head and looked at Lake Emery. He could clearly see that Lake Emery was always snickering at this time. There's something going on here. Lin Fei suddenly felt that this matter was not that simple. Thinking about it, Lin Fei came to the other side of the car, opened the door and sat in. Just as he sat down, Lin Fei turned his head and finally saw the man's uncontrollable smile in his clothes. Depend on. Suddenly, Lin Fei cursed. Cheng Xing, it's you who is so special. I thought it was you. Damn. Why are you here? Why can't I be here? Why, you're unhappy that I'm here. How could that happen? Lin Fei waved his hands repeatedly. Point I don't know why, but when Cheng Xing appeared, Lin Fei felt a lot relieved. Point the previous tension was somewhat diluted at this moment. Point after all, when an equally strong person is with you, you can always find some sense of security. Has that George McCall been found now? Lin Fei quickly asked the doubts in his heart. Listening, Chen Xing shook his head and already answered Lin Fei like this. For a moment, Lin Fei began to think deeply. It seems that things are not so simple. Thinking about it, Lin Fei changed the topic. I can't recognize your current appearance. By the way, do you know anyone from the Grammont family? Lin Fei looked at Chen crossing beside him with some surprise. He found that this kid was completely different from when he first saw him. Chen Xing now looks calm inside and out. Even Lin Fei was a little impressed when he saw this calmness. And soon, Chen Xing smiled. What? Surprised? Please, I'll tell you why. How about it? TCH. I don't want to know anymore. Lin Fei curled his lips and turned his head to look outside. You asked me yet? Ask me. Do not ask, Lin Fei raised the corners of his mouth. This kid really couldn't hide something in his heart. He just said a few words casually, but in the end, he couldn't wait to tell himself. Thinking about it, Lin Fei continued to shake his head. Since you don't want to say anything, then why should I ask? No, just ask. Tell me, if you don't ask, how can I pretend to be a show-off? Who cares about you? Lin Fei curled his lips, giggled, and soon, Lei Kemri, who was sitting in front, even smiled. I said, you two are really interesting. I really envy the relationship between you two. Cut. Lin Fei spoke disdainfully. Who has a good relationship with him? We are just using each other. Hey, don't talk about this at this time, okay? Chen Xing looked helpless. Don't I want to lose face? It's like I'm rushing to find you, isn't it? Lin Fei asked back. Could it be that I asked you to come to me in the first place? You. After looking at Lin Fei, Chen Crossing finally spoke helplessly. Well, it's all my fault. Oh, I made a careless friend. Grrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr Okay, let me tell you. How long are you two going to keep bickering? Let me tell you. Turning around from the front and looking at Lin Fei, Lei Kemi smiled. Mr. Lin, it's like this. As for Mr. Chen and Mr. George, they were very good friends before. They met by chance. Mr. George was wandering around to relax after working in Lango, but he accidentally fell into trouble. If Mr. Nachin hadn't saved him, I'm afraid Mr. George would no longer be in this world. Oh my god, what happened back then was really thrilling. I even said that I didn't expect it to turn out like this. But fortunately, Mr. Chen saved the day. After that, the two became very good friends, and Mr. Chen was the only person from outside the family invited to this party. Oh, Lin Fei looked at Chen Crossing showing off at the side with surprise point quickly attacking. Lin Fei hit Chengxing directly on the back of the head with a bang. Depend on Chengxing, who was suddenly in pain, covered the back of his head point looking at Lin Fei. Chengxing looked helpless. Why are you hitting me so hard? What's wrong with beating you? How come you are so lucky every day? TCH. Is that shitty luck? That's my good character, young master. I'm willing to help others. Draw my sword to help. Be happy to help others. Help. Run. For words. Lin Fei's eyes changed, and he looked at Chen Crossing with a mocking look on his face. You don't have a good vocabulary, do you? I want you to take care of it. With that said, Chengxing ignored Lin Fei and looked at the road ahead. Lin Fei knew that this boy Chengxing was in the wrong, so he didn't say anything more. And soon, Lei Kemi smiled. Mr. Lin, after we arrive at the manor, I will take you to meet Mr. George. After that, we need to decide on the ingredients for tomorrow's dinner tonight, so that I can arrange for someone to go shopping, and Mr. Lin will decide when to start preparing for the dinner tomorrow. Of course, please rest assured that the money given to Mr. Lin will not be less at all. Moreover, Mr. George said that after tomorrow, he hopes to invite Mr. Lin to rest here for a few days, and then take Mr. Lin to experience local customs and customs. This is a bit troublesome for you. Lin Fei smiled, and at the same time, Lin Fei also calculated the time. There are still some days before August 25th, when he will participate in the competition. He can take a rest during this period. But I just don't know if George McCaw will. Seeing that the car has already driven out of the city and came to the road to the suburbs, Lin Fei fell into helplessness. Be careful. Suddenly, at this moment, Chen Crossing suddenly shouted. In an instant, Chen Crossing moved. He rushed forward. Lin Fei reacted immediately. Chen Crossing rushed forward and grabbed the steering wheel in the driver's hand. With a quick swing of his hand, the steering wheel turned rapidly. Crack. That neither of them reacted. But then, Lin Fei's hair stood up all over his body. Crisis. A strong sense of crisis came. Bang. A gunshot that resounded through the sky rang out. Barrett appeared. Chapter 231. Dilemma. Instantly, when this voice sounded, Lin Fei's whole body felt chilly. At this time, he was completely able to tell that this was a real Barrett's voice. After all, Lin Fei didn't expect that George McCall would appear at this time. Lin Fei originally thought that George McCall would think more about other things and make more preparations, but he did not expect that he would be able to achieve such a point at the same time. Lin Fei had the biggest doubt in his mind. Is this why George McCall knows one of his routes? Logically speaking, no one would know about Lin Fei's itinerary from beginning to end, right? At the same time, Lin Fei also admired Chen Xing's reaction. The speed is so fast. Being able to make quick judgments in such a short period of time instantly caused the entire car to deviate from the overall direction. But at this moment, the rear wheel of the car should have punctured. The entire car suddenly began to skid under a flat tire. Brake. Brake. At this time, Chen Xing shouted after hearing Chen Crossing's words. Lin Fei nodded loudly. George McCall is in the mountain opposite. There is no way to determine where exactly he is. After hearing Chen Crossing's words, Lin Fei nodded loudly instantly. He quickly opened the car door and jumped out quickly. He knew that if he stayed in the car at this time, he would probably become a target for the other party. Everyone must get out of the car and into the bunker. Thinking about it, the two people quickly came to the roadside next to the car at this time. Lying down directly in the grass, Lake Emily and the driver quickly followed. Just now, I suddenly found a bright spot over there. I felt that there was something wrong with its appearance, so I made such a judgment. I estimate that he should have moved to another location by now, but where exactly he went, we don't know yet. Hearing this, Lin Fei frowned. I'm really curious now. Why does George McCall know our current location? He shouldn't know my roadmap. This matter. After waiting thoughtfully for a moment, Chen Xing spoke. Let's talk about it then. I think these things should be done after surviving, and it's very possible that he knew something in advance. As he said that, Chen Xing also frowned, and the two of them just looked at the road ahead. In front of this is a road. Next to the corner of the road is a large mountain. The mountain is about 300 to 400 meters high, with various trees and jungles on it. Observation. Then, what should we do now? Are we lying here all the time? Lin Fei frowned. Listening to Lin Fei's words, Chen Xing shook his head. Turning around, he looked at Lake Henry. I said, Ms. Lacombe, I hope to contact the guards of Grammont Manor. Let them come here quickly. If we have been hiding here, it is very likely that George McCall will find a new address. By then, we will really become a living target. No knowing where he is, there is basically no chance of our survival. Okay, I'll contact the manor right now. With that said, Lacombe quickly took out his mobile phone and started to make calls at the same time. She was also thinking about what exactly was going on and how could it have turned out like this. I quickly called the manor and called the guards. Lacombe looked at Chen Xing and Lin Fei beside her and asked. I said, you two, what happened? Why do we still encounter such a heavy sniper here? He wants lives. What happened? I want to know the truth of everything. Lake Emily did not know the truth of the matter at this time. After all, few people knew about Lin Fei, and she just invited Lin Fei to attend such a banquet. She even said that even other members of the Grammont family might not know about such a thing. Forget it. Let's talk about some things later. Finally, Chen Xing finally spoke. Brother Lin, according to such a mountain structure, George McCall should at least reach our 8 o'clock direction, and the distance between the two is at least 1,000 meters. in such a complex mountain. Under the circumstances, he was also carrying a heavy sniper rifle. I can judge his overall movement range, which will last about 5 minutes. Brother Lin, we have to make a decision in about 5 minutes. First, we have to wait for the guards to come, and second, we have to leave here immediately. Leave here. Who dares to move now? Lin Fei curled his lips when he heard it. What? If George McCaw is still here, or waiting for us to show up in a nearby location, this, Chen Crossing nodded when he heard Lin Fei's words. I know you are in this situation, but if you stay here, you may face greater danger. As he said, Chen Crossing looked at Likomi again. Likomi, how long will it take for the guards to arrive? We only have a few minutes now. If your guards don't come, we may all become dead souls under the gun. I'm already urging them. Grammy was also very anxious and took out his mobile phone to continue issuing orders. But soon, just half a minute later, Grammy's face suddenly became melancholy. At this time, she was wearing very neat clothes, but now she was lying on the grass and was already dirty. Seeing the content displayed on the phone, Leikemo's heart sank. To deal with it now, I just received news that the road from the manor was blocked by a pile of stones. Now the guards are stepping up to clear it. What? Hearing this, Lin Fei and Chen Crossing were stunned. Things serious. 5 minutes. It is difficult to make a decision. A dilemma between life and death. Chapter 232. Go forward. Hearing this, Lin Fei immediately made a judgment. If this incident was not premeditated, Lin Fei would never believe it. Before he boarded the plane, he knew that George McCaw had come to Eagle Country. In other words, from the beginning to the end, he knew that he was coming here. But how is this possible? When he talked to Leikemoy, didn't Leikemoy ask him to keep it a secret? Yes, Lin Fei did it, and he also believed that Tang Xiaochu and others around him would not tell this matter. So what is going on now? Why did George McCaw appear here? Lin Fei can be sure that someone must have leaked the secret. Who is it? Is it Leikemoy? Or this driver? Or someone else? At this time, Lin Fei can be said to have a big head. The seriousness of the matter has exceeded his imagination. But Lin Fei also knows that this is not the time for him to think about the whole story. Turning around and looking at Chen Crossing, Lin Fei spoke. We still have a possibility. What? Chen Crossing listened and was surprised. At this time, it was already a dilemma. How could there be other ways? For a moment, Chen Crossing looked at Lin Fei in confusion. But what Lin Fei said next shocked Chen Crossing instantly. Lin Fei spoke calmly. We can try to break through. Instead of waiting to die, it's better to face it head on. Ah, you crazy? How is this possible? Chen Crossing looked at the mountain in front and spoke. Do you know how far we are from the mountain now? A full kilometer away. 1,000 meters. How fast do you think we can run? Do you think George McCaw can't see you at such a long distance? I know. Lin Fei nodded. Now, there is no other way for us, right? Can you really just sit here and wait for death? Obviously, the blockade of the road is also related to George McCaw. This is naturally his trap. In that case, we are in this trap. How can you guarantee that George McCaw will not anticipate our hiding? So, now, we might as well take the initiative. At least. Suddenly, Lin Fei's eyes became gloomy. Can someone of us survive? You, listening to Lin Fei's words, Chen Crossing widened his eyes. He didn't expect Lin Fei to say such a thing. But, there's no but. Chen Crossing, I know you're definitely not an ordinary person. You're always laughing and joking, but I can tell your blood is full of passion. I'm asking you, I'm going to take this risk. Will you go? Chen Crossing was helpless. How the hell can I not go? Have you forgotten my mission this time? Oh, God, why are you so unfair to me? As he said that, Chen Crossing put on a bitter smile. Okay, Lin Fei smiled and pretended to be calm. But soon, with the cover of the bushes, Lin Fei patted Chen Crossing's shoulder. I'll take care of this favor. You said that when the time comes, you have to work hard for the thing I ask you to do. No problem. Lin Fei suddenly smiled. He knew very well that Chen Crossing had just contacted him for the mission. Although he didn't know what organization he came from, Lin Fei still admired him very much in his heart. At the same time, Lin Fei also hoped that after this incident was over, the two of them could really become good friends. After all, it is not easy to find a close friend. At such a life and death moment, he was able to stand up resolutely, which was a great courage for Lin Fei. Silently, Lin Fei took off his coat. Just now in the car, Lin Fei felt a little cold, so he put on a denim jacket that was placed beside him. Unexpectedly, it came in handy now. Lake Henry, Lin Fei said calmly, while tidying up the coat in his hand. Mr. Lin, I'm here, Lake Henry said. After Chen crossing and I move, you two immediately find a way to run behind the stone 30 meters behind. We will attract the attention of that person, and he will not do anything to you two. This, Mr. Lin, then you two. Heh, Lin Fei laughed. I can choose suddenly not to go, but I don't like the feeling of being controlled by others. By the way, if we don't come back for a while, there's no need to wait, because do it. Suddenly, Lin Fei shouted loudly, and the muscles of his limbs had already been in a state of extreme excitement. And with Lin Fei's shout, Lin Fei's right hand swung quickly and threw it out immediately. Bang! As expected. At this moment, a sound resounding through the sky rang out again. And Lin Fei even clearly saw that the clothes he had just thrown out were pierced by a bullet. The bullet hit the ground and the asphalt on the ground was forcibly opened. I saw it. He is still there. Bang. At the moment of speaking, Lin Fei moved, and the whole person rushed out of the grass like a cheetah. The road conditions on both sides of the road were very difficult to walk. At this time, Lin Fei chose to take a risk and ran directly on the main road. And Chen crossing behind him, watching Lin Fei's movements, also reacted quickly. However, when he saw Lin Fei rushing out like a cheetah at this time, he was shocked. This Lin Fei, what a fast speed. Chen crossing can guarantee that, except for his own old man, he has never seen such a fast speed. Moreover, while running, this Lin Fei can actually maintain an irregular snake-like movement. How did he do it? At this moment, Chen crossing was already extremely surprised. This Lin Fei, Chen crossing clearly realized at this moment that maybe Lin Fei's strength was stronger than his. With this explosive power and endurance, Chen crossing didn't feel it when they first met last time. At that time, if Lin Fei had used such explosive power against him, maybe he would have been defeated long ago. Come on. Just when Chen crossing was thinking, Lin Fei's voice rang out. At the same time, bang, woo. Chapter 233, Injury, woo. Instantly, the gunshot sounded like thunder in the dry land. Even Chen crossing felt that the ground under his feet seemed to tremble. But this is not the most important thing. Seeing Lin Fei staggering at this time, Chen crossing shouted, "Brother Lin, how are you?" Woo. Suddenly, Lin Fei covered his shoulder. This scene was clearly captured by Chen crossing. He just saw clearly that a blood flower appeared on Lin Fei's left arm. Then, the Barrett's bullet hit the ground on the side. Lin Fei was injured. This moment, he was thinking, is the action of himself and Lin Fei correct? Could it be that, Suddenly, Chen crossing frowned. Because just now, Chen crossing's keen observation saw a little something strange suddenly on the mountain. And looking at Lin Fei again, at this moment, Lin Fei put his hands down again. Under the violent swing of his arms, he accelerated and ran madly again. Seeing that the speed of Lin Fei's feet had not slowed down at all, Chen crossing was already surprised. This Lin Fei really risked his life. And he also heard Lin Fei shout, "I'm fine, chase him. Don't let him run away." Okay. While speaking, Chen crossing also used all his strength. Because just now, Chen crossing naturally found the trace of George McCaw. This George McCaw was behind a big tree on the top of the mountain. And just at that moment, when the gunshot rang out, Chen crossing also found that the figure left here under the faint light of the moonlight. He wants to run. This was Chen crossing's only thought at this time. At the same time, Lin Fei also naturally discovered such a situation. George McCaw was going to run away. At this time, Lin Fei, although he already felt the burning pain on his shoulder, but Lin Fei could also judge that it was just a superficial injury. In this case, George McCaw was going to leave. How could Lin Fei give him such a chance? Could it be that he was still waiting for him to snipe him next time? How could it be possible? In itself, Lin Fei already felt that he was very tormented every day. Now, Lin Fei would naturally not give up such an opportunity again. Therefore, even though he was injured now, Lin Fei did not want to give up such an opportunity. This is better than letting him retreat at ease. Lin Fei did not like to sit and wait for death. At the same time, behind him, the place where Lin Fei and the others were hiding quickly and used all his strength to go to the big rock behind him. This rock is very huge. Lei Kemi also believes that, as long as he runs here, he doesn't need to worry about the manned sniper rifle. Looking at the driver again, when he heard this, he hurriedly climbed up and ran quickly. Soon, the two came to the big tree with trepidation, and finally found that there was no accident. After a long breath, Lei Kemi felt like he had escaped from death, and cold sweat broke out on his body. What's going on? God, I want to know why all this happened. Hearing this, the driver on the side also shook his head hurriedly. Now he really doesn't want to know anything. For him, being able to survive is already a great luck for himself. How could he still have the mind to think about other things? Miss Lakomi, let's go. I really don't want to stay here. It's too dangerous. Hearing the driver's words, Lakomi thought for a while and finally shook her head. I won't leave. Mr. Lin said that we should wait for him, and he is very important to Mr. George. Ring, ring, ring. Just after she finished speaking, Lakomi's mobile phone rang. Taking out the mobile phone, looking at the call of Graham and George on it, Lakomi frowned. It seems that her boss finally knows. Hurry up and press the answer button. Soon, a very magnetic voice from the other side rang. What's the matter? Lakomi, I hope you can give me a satisfactory answer. Listening, Lakomi smiled helplessly and finally stroked her messy hair. I'm sorry, Boss George. I think I can't explain it to you now, because I'm also very curious about this matter. And what? I ask you, how are Mr. Lin and Mr. Chen now? Glemon. George asked directly. Listen, Lakomi said, the two of them went to find the killer, and I seem to see that Mr. Lin was just injured now. What? Glemon. George was shocked. Mr. Lin is injured? Damn it. Come here. Send me man-like guards to the nearby mountains immediately to support Mr. Lin. Listening to the phone being hung up, Lei Kemi smiled helplessly. Matter, it's really serious. And Mr. Lin, I don't know if he is now. Brush. At this time, Lin Fei and Chen Crossing, who already knew that George McCaw had left, no longer planned to avoid him. Now, there is no need for the two of them to take evasive actions. As a result, the two showed all their explosive power at this time. Just a moment later, the distance of 1,000 meters disappeared in an instant. When he arrived at the foot of the mountain and looked at the upward road, Lin Fei did not hesitate. There are no very spacious roads in this mountain. After all, few people visit it. There is only one path that winds upward. In order to climb the mountain faster, Lin Fei quickly stretched out his hand. Snapped. Drink. Ugh. Lin Fei directly grabbed the tree trunk and shouted, and instantly he was like a monkey, using all his limbs with his power. Lin Fei's speed increased again, and he rushed upwards like a sensitive monkey. But the pain in his left arm instantly made Lin Fei groan. Chen Crossing, who was not far behind Lin Fei, also discovered the same situation. Brother, Lin, are you okay? Seeing Lin Fei's performance, Chen Xing shouted. He could clearly see that Lin Fei's left arm had contracted a little bit just now. Such a performance was clearly seen by Chen Xing. This Lin Fei, the injuries were really serious. Chapter 234, Lin Fei's True Strength. At the same time, Chen Xing also keenly noticed blood dripping from Lin Fei's left arm. This, Chen Xing felt anxious for a moment. Will something really happen to Lin Fei? What he was most worried about was that Lin Fei would be seriously injured when he arrived. By that time, I will have lost a very reliable partner. This Lin Fei, do you want to stop him? Thinking about it, Chen Xing spoke. Brother, Lin, why don't you rest, and I'll chase you? Impossible. Damn it, how long have I been waiting for him? Lin Fei gritted his teeth and said. The muscles on his arms bulged, and the blood flow obviously became faster. In just 10 seconds, Lin Fei clearly felt a touch of warmth appear on his arm. This is the feeling of blood flowing. However, Lin Fei knew that he could still persist now. After all, he doesn't feel dizzy yet. Aha. While thinking, Lin Fei roared again. His figure suddenly rose, and he actually rose several meters out of thin air. Clatter. With the force of his legs, Lin Fei stepped directly on the tree trunk nearby, and suddenly, his whole body shot away. This grandson wants me to die. Do I have to wait to die? Bullshit. Lin Fei's voice resounded through the mountains and forests, echoing continuously among the mountains. Listen, Chengxing didn't know why, but he just felt a little admiration in his heart. This is true temperament. Dare to love and hate. Such an attitude really moved Chengxing. Dada, just like that. The two of them quickly climbed up point finally. 3 minutes later, the two of them reached the top of the mountain point. This is exactly where George McCaw appeared just now. Point I feel sticky on my body, and I don't know if it's sweat or blood. Point Lin Fei shook his head. Brother. Lin. Look here. Soon, the voice of Chengxing rang. Hearing this, Lin Fei immediately reacted. Point Lin Fei quickly turned around and looked aside. Point I saw a sight. Chengxing was holding a beret in his hand. At his feet, there was a backpack. This George McCaw knew how powerful we were. After finding out that we didn't kill you, he abandoned his equipment and left it. Lin Fei hurriedly rummaged through his pocket and took out his cell phone. Now that George McCaw has left, Lin Fei naturally doesn't need to worry about being exposed. Turning on the flashlight, Lin Fei directly illuminated the inside of the backpack, took the night vision goggles from Lin Fei's hand, and began to observe them continuously. Point Chengxing's eyes were very sharp, and as the one-sided night vision goggles turned rapidly, he had a panoramic view of the surrounding scenes. However, after searching for a long time, Chengxing could not find the figure of George McCaw. For a moment, Chengxing also became a little nervous. Damn. Has he already run away? How is that possible? Chengxing looked at the surrounding mountain environment and analyzed it. The mountain, than for us to go up the mountain. How could he disappear so quickly? Could it be that he is hiding? Won't. Lin Fei shook his head affirmatively. Now we can know that the stones on the road were arranged by him. Then if that's the case, how could he stay? Because he will definitely know that Graham and Manor will send someone over. If he stays here now, isn't he just waiting for the dragnet to appear? Well, I'll look for it again. Saying that, Chengxing started observing again. Point finally. Suddenly, Chengxing shouted. I saw it. At the foot of the mountain in front. He was running towards the mountain next to him. No, this mountain range is connected. If he runs out, we won't be able to find him. Saying that, Chengxing quickly put down his night vision goggles, picked up Barrett, and started aiming forward. Wind direction, wind force, distance. At this time, Chengxing was still locked on the final target, muttering in his mouth and beginning to estimate the various environmental factors around him. For a sniper, any disturbance will affect the trajectory of the bullet. Although the distance from George McCaw at this time was only more than 600 meters, such a night environment naturally brought great difficulties to Chengxing. Looking at Lin Fei again, he saw the distance Chin Crossing was aiming at and quickly picked up the night vision goggles he threw on the ground. Saw it. Suddenly, Lin Fei felt happy. He saw that there was a person at the foot of the mountain who should be wearing black clothes at this time. Point this is a natural camouflage. In this night, it is obviously a great challenge to find his trace. Point this must be George McCaw. At the same time, Lin Fei also saw that George McCaw's position was only a few dozen meters away from the mountain next to him. Point. If George McCaw really ran out of the sight of the two, then the result, damn it, and finally, at this moment, Chen Crossing suddenly cursed. He ran too fast, and there were trees around to block him. I couldn't guarantee that I could snipe him. The success rate was less than 30%. Chen Crossing was also extremely anxious at this time. He didn't want to see such a situation happen. Now, for them, it may be the only chance. Chen Crossing didn't want to gamble with this shot. But if he didn't shoot, there would be no chance. Seeing that George McCaw was about to disappear from sight, sweat appeared on Chen Crossing's hands. It was extremely difficult. I'll do it. As a result. At this moment, Lin Fei spoke. After saying that, Chen Crossing felt a gust of wind coming from the side. Turning his head, he saw Lin Fei reaching out his hand and snatching the beret from Chen Crossing's hand. "Brother Lin, you." When Chen Crossing saw Lin Fei snatching the beret, he was surprised. But soon, Chen Crossing was stunned, his eyes widened, and he couldn't believe what he saw at this moment. The beret instantly rode on his shoulders, and Lin Fei's right foot pushed back and directly hit the tree trunk behind him. Bang! A gunshot rang out, and the beret in Lin Fei's hand fell directly to the ground. HMPH. With a muffled groan, Lin Fei immediately covered his left arm. Chapter 235. War. Fuck. When the gunshot sounded, Chen Xing was already stunned. He looked ahead in disbelief, because wherever he looked, he seemed to see a black falling figure down at the foot of the mountain in the distance. No way. For a moment, Chen Xing felt surprised in his heart. If this is really what I think, then, Chen Xing suddenly turned his head and looked at Lin Fei in disbelief. Lin Fei, is there anything else that I haven't learned about yet? Thinking about it, Chen Xing quickly bent down and picked up the single-sided night vision goggles in front of him. Using the telescope function inside, Chen Xing quickly looked forward. Holy shit. Finally, Chen Xing couldn't bear it anymore. At this time, he was looking at the foot of the mountain in the distance, already confused. I saw a dark figure standing up with difficulty at the foot of the mountain. This is George McCaw. Chen Xing saw from a distance that George McCaw took off his coat and quickly wrapped it around his thigh. Brother Lin, how did you do it? How could you possibly know a sniper rifle? This is Barrett. Chen Xing looked at Lin Fei in disbelief. What does this prove? From just now to now, according to Chen Crossing's recollection, it should only be a few seconds, right? In these few seconds, Lin Fei quickly adjusted the torque, and then under such wind force and distance, he fired a shot with just a thought. How the hell is this possible? Chen Xing thought to himself, not even he can do this. This Lin Fei. For a moment, Chen Xing quickly turned around and looked at Lin Fei in surprise. I saw that the beret in Lin Fei's hand had already been released and fell directly to the ground. Lin Fei also used his right hand to press the spot where his left arm was shot. During the previous mountain climbing pursuit, Lin Fei had already injured his left arm. And Lin Fei was able to climb up so quickly. God knows how much pain Lin Fei endured. And now, Lin Fei could no longer hold on. A scratch appeared on the left arm that seemed to be 3 centimeters deep. Under Chen Xing's attention, he soon saw Lin Fei's left arm. It has long been soaked in blood. Brother Lin, are you okay? Chen Xing looked at Lin Fei with some worry. Listening, Lin Fei shook his head. For myself, this persistence is at least effective. Thinking about it, Lin Fei took off his shirt directly. Help me. Hurry up. Don't let that George McCaw escape. But, listening, Chen Xing quickly took Lin Fei's shirt. Glancing at Lin Fei's upper body, Chen Crossing curled his lips. TSK, I really didn't expect that you, an actor and singer, have a pretty good figure. Lin Fei was obviously confused. Damn it, I have a wife. Of course I know, I'm just envious. If I had a figure like yours, would I still worry about finding a wife? Get out. Hiss. Lin Fei laughed and cursed, but immediately felt the heartbreaking pain, and couldn't help but take a breath. Don't you know how to be gentle? Listening to Lin Fei's words, Chen Xing smiled helplessly. If I were gentler, I'm afraid your wound would really bleed out by then. I mean, it's hard work without any merit, right? Why don't you teach me Chinese martial arts when you have time? Let's wait until you catch up with me. After checking the hemostatic measures on his left arm, Lin Fei shook his hand, feeling that his exertion had not been greatly affected. Other than pain, there was no excess of discomfort. Then, Lin Fei moved. Brush. In an instant, his legs were strong. Looking at the irregular and steep rocks going down the mountain, Lin Fei jumped up directly. Snapped. Just as he was about to fall, there was an extremely thick tree on the side. Lin Fei hugged it without hesitation and stopped himself. Without even stopping for a moment, Lin Fei let go of the tree again and jumped directly down again. Fuck you wait for me. While watching Chen Xing, I heard Lin Fei's words and watched Lin Fei left the place quickly, and I suddenly felt unhappy. Damn it, you let me catch up with you. We have to compete fairly, right? Just wait for me. We have to be on the same starting line after all, right? Why don't you think about me being a patient? Lin Fei kept moving, and the words on his lips did not fall behind at all. You. When Chengxing heard this, he felt helpless because he found that he couldn't catch up with his special meow. This Lin Fei was just like a monkey, and his vigorous skills made him feel scary. I saw Lin Fei moving around among various trees again and again, his body constantly twisting like a snake. Isn't this a man? How come the body's flexibility is so strong? Little did he know that this was the beauty of mastery of movement in dance. Lin Fei also suddenly realized that he could combine the two masteries with each other. At this moment, Lin Fei felt that his body was extremely light, and every time he moved, he felt light and airy. At the same time, Chengxing was also surprised. Didn't Lin Fei feel the danger? During these rapid descents, Chen Crossing felt the extreme operation at least a dozen times. But Lin Fei seemed to feel nothing. Finally, 5 minutes later, Lin Fei and Chen Crossing had arrived at the foot of the mountain. Panting heavily, Chen Crossing curled his lips at Lin Fei, who was searching in front of him. Are you a monster, Chen? Crossing couldn't imagine at point he already felt a little out of breath point, but Lin Fei seemed to feel nothing at all. With such endurance and agility, Chen Crossing felt that he was really like a child in front of Lin Fei. Point really strong. Found it. At this moment, Lin Fei's face lit up. Point in front of him. On the ground, there was a pool of blood and pieces of broken pieces. This is George McCaw's. Chen Crossing also hurriedly came closer. Listening, Lin Fei nodded. Boom. Without a wind, waves rose. Lin Fei rushed madly in the direction of the bloodstain like a cannonball. The various gravels on the ground did not become a stumbling block for Lin Fei's progress. Seeing this, Chen Crossing was obviously shocked. He found that he could not see Lin Fei clearly. At this time, Chen Crossing felt a strong momentum from Lin Fei. His body. Point in his body, there was murderous intent. Point and Lin Fei, willing to fight. Chapter 236, can't even block a punch? Trash. But, looking at Lin Fei's back, Chen Crossing shook his head and quickly followed. Why can't I still see through you? A minute. Chengxing stopped. Because Lin Fei stopped, Chen Crossing also stopped with him. What I saw in front of me was a slightly flat grassland, right in the middle of the mountain. There are large and jagged trees around. And most importantly, on this grassland, a person appeared. It was the man, George McCaw. Under the moonlight, George McCaw's face was revealed. At this time, George McCaw was in an extremely embarrassed state and was wearing a black outfit this time. Point similarly, there was indeed a scar on George McCaw's left thigh, and the coat was tightly wrapped around it. Suddenly, Lin Fei smiled. Stepping slowly, Lin Fei's fighting spirit became higher and higher. Looking at George McCaw in front of him, Lin Fei sneered. Run. Shoot. Weren't you so arrogant and awesome just now? Didn't you want to kill me? Come on, do it. There was endless ridicule in Lin Fei's words. Looking at George McCaw again, seeing Lin Fei getting closer and closer. At this time George McCaw only felt that he was enveloped by an aura. Point now, he only has one idea. The information on this mission is wrong. I never found out that Lin Fei was so powerful. Point after all, Barrett was his destiny weapon, and he missed it in such a situation. Who are you? George McCaw took 2 steps back slightly and frowned as he looked at Lin Fei. Point listening, Lin Fei laughed. Who am I? Aren't you here to kill me? And you also checked my information on the internet. Now you ask me who I am. You. How did you know? George McCaw looked at Lin Fei in surprise. Point and soon, he shook his head. Moreover, you are obviously an ordinary person. Why do you have such strong physical ability? Lin Fei smiled extremely happily. If I'll let you know everything, wouldn't I become your dead soul now? Watching George McCaw slowly take 2 steps back, his left leg was still limping at the same time. Point Lin Fei spoke. What? You want to leave? Do you think you can still run with the legs you have now? Are you too confident in yourself? What do you want? Listening to Lin Fei's words, George McCaw stopped in his tracks. With his fists clenched, George McCaw felt endless reluctance in his heart. How could he imagine it? People stumble and horses stumble. Spare my life. I won't interfere in your affairs anymore. How about that? And asked, ha. Lin Fei suddenly smiled when he heard it. What did you say? Let you go? Do you think I, Lin Fei, am a good person? Others want me to die. Do I still watch him go with a smile? Raising his hand, Lin Fei made a mocking gesture. Come on. Hit me and I'll give you a chance. Beat me and I'll let you go. If you can't win, just wait for the retribution you deserve. Ah. You telling the truth, George? McCaw suddenly looked delighted. Listening. Lin Fei nodded. Of course. I, Lin Fei, never tell lies. As long as you can beat me, then I will naturally let you go, and my friends will ignore you. How about that? After hesitating for a moment, George McCaw turned his head and looked at Cheng Xing aside. For a moment, George McCaw looked at the star with some confusion. At this moment, surrounded by stars, the corners of the mouth raised inadvertently, as if they were watching a joke. What's the meaning? George McCaw was a little puzzled. What does it mean? You look down on me, George. McCaw looked at Cheng Xing with an unhappy expression. No. Cheng Xing waved his hands quickly. Looking at the stone beside him, he sat on it. He took out a cigarette from his pocket, lit it, took a deep breath, and Cheng Xing smiled. Fight quickly, fight quickly. I'm still waiting to go back. You too. In an instant, George McCaw felt like he was being looked down upon, and he was immediately humiliated. With a cry, George McCaw reached back with his left hand and took out a dagger from his waist. This is his melee weapon. At this time, he had only one thought in his mind. You must go up, regardless of whether Lin Fei's words about letting him go were true. But at this moment, Chen Crossing knew it. If you don't do it, you really have no chance at all. On the contrary, Lin Fei's wild agreement would very likely allow him to seize the opportunity. It is possible that Lin Fei will be killed by himself. At that time, I only need to defeat the remaining person to leave. Instantly, thinking of such a result, George McCaw's heart, the hope of survival, burned again. Come on. Instantly, Lin Fei shouted, and with his legs exerted force, he rushed forward quickly. Lin Fei's figure was fast, and his eyes were also extremely determined. At this time, Lin Fei had only one idea. Go up. Fight. This pursuit, Lin Fei suppressed for a long time. At this moment, Lin Fei's emotions finally broke out. Want my life? Then let's see if you have the strength. Hey. Suddenly, Lin Fei shouted, and his right arm swung out quickly. This sound resounded through the mountains and forests, and the birds on the surrounding mountains suddenly flew up out, in the air. Lin Fei's left foot quickly dropped down, and with a strange posture, his body changed its route instantly, and he avoided the attack of the dagger. Bang! And Lin Fei's punch finally hit George McCaw's abdomen. At this moment, swish! In just a moment, George McCaw's body quickly retreated, leaving a long gully on the grass. Woo! Puff! Bang! After retreating a full few meters, George McCaw finally stopped. Covering his abdomen, George McCaw spurted out a mouthful of blood and fell directly to the ground. TSK. Looking at George McCaw's end, Lin Fei curled his lips. Can't even take my punch. Rubbish. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 237. Relaxed. Cheng Xing was already stunned. George McCaw hurriedly came closer, with a confused look on his face. I saw that George McCaw in front of me had fallen directly to the ground. At the same time, the stars can also be seen vaguely. George McCaw's face was full of pain at this time. George McCaw held his stomach, completely in disbelief, and all he could see on his face was shock. Had some strength, but to be so strong was something he had never seen before. George McCaw was surprised and shocked. Why is Lin Fei so strong? Just now, George McCaw used all his strength, Although it was just an ordinary thrust of a dagger, the power contained in it was already the maximum limit that he could reach at present for George McCaw. And after he saw Lin Fei rushing over quickly, he knew that it was impossible for Lin Fei to dodge his dagger with such an action. This is completely a lose-lose result. George McCaw firmly believed that Lin Fei could not resist his dagger. Then he could naturally think of it. If his dagger could really stab Lin Fei is finished. For a moment, at that time, George McCaw had already sentenced Lin Fei to death in his heart. He believed that Lin Fei had narrowly escaped death. It was at this moment that Lin Fei dodged his own thrust and then punched out point facing this fist. George McCaw no longer wanted to say anything. Can't hide, and it hurts. At this time, he was lying on the ground holding his abdomen, feeling the heartbreaking pain, and now he felt like crying. Why is Lin Fei so strong? What is his strength? This was completely different from the Lin Fei I knew at the beginning. For a moment, George McCaw couldn't believe it. And Cheng Xing also came close and couldn't help but smile when he saw such a painful look. Turning his head to look at Lin Fei, Chen Crossing smiled helplessly. Brother Lin, are you a little too cruel? Is it? Lin Fei waved his hand indifferently, took out a cigarette from his pocket and lit it directly. God knows how much anger Lin Fei experienced just now. The depression during this period was really too painful for Lin Fei. Lin Fei has been in such a state of discomfort ever since he first knew that George McCaw was coming to kill him. He was very worried that George McCaw would come and kill him, and he was very worried that the people around him would be affected. But now, this matter has finally been resolved. How could Lin Fei be unhappy? Thinking about it, Lin Fei lit up the cigarette, took a deep drag, and looked at George McCaw on the ground with a sneer. This is nothing but his own fault. Why would he have done it in the first place if he had known it would happen today? Do you really think that I'm someone who is easy to bully? Hearing Lin Fei's words, Cheng Xing laughed. Well, it seems that you have finally adjusted your mentality now, but this is good. At least, we have solved a person who is among the top 3 killers in the world, right? Hearing this, Lin Fei nodded slightly and then spoke. What should I do with this person? I mean, he won't just leave him here forever, right? Of course not. Where I am, I'm responsible for this killer. They came to assassinate our people from the Dragon Kingdom. How could we condone such a thing? The higher ups have contacted me. I will take him to Gramad Manor now. When he gets there, I will send someone to pick him up. Well, if that's the case, I won't get involved too much. I just hope that he won't be too relaxed. After all, I'm very angry. Okay, I understand. I said, Brother Lin, you said, since I'm helping you so much, shouldn't you teach me your martial arts? After hearing these words, Lin Fei's head was filled with black lines. I asked you, why are you working so hard like this? Is this martial art really that important to you? Of course, I don't know why. When Cheng Xing said this, his expression suddenly became serious. This martial art is really a very powerful technique for me. I think if I learn it, I will have a little more hope of survival in future battles. As long as I can survive, I can protect more people. I don't hope that one day I will die on the battlefield. I hope that one day I will die of old age. Silence. There was a long silence. Lin Fei felt quite uncomfortable when he heard Chen Crossing's words. What he thought at this time was that Chen Crossing was really a chivalrous person. Such a person is always thinking about other people. Being strong is just to protect others. This kind of person deserves Lin Fei's respect. At this time, Lin Fei's impression of Chen Crossing changed again. After a long time, Lin Fei finally smiled. Okay, wait until you are done with this period of work. Really? Hearing this, Chen Crossing's face suddenly became happy. Really? If you say so, I tell you, we have agreed. Otherwise, how about we go back and sign an agreement later? When you are done with this period of work, you set a time, and then we study according to the agreement. How about it? When the time comes. Don't worry. I can't let you teach for nothing. How about I treat you to a meal? Hearing this, Lin Fei's head was full of black lines. This kid, the special one, has returned to his nature now. Huh. Suddenly, at this moment, Lin Fei frowned. He turned his head and looked, and Lin Fei smiled immediately. I saw that on the top of the mountain, where everyone was just now. Flashlights appeared one by one, obviously looking for something frantically. Chen Crossing also naturally noticed such a situation for them to come. Yeah, this battle. After stretching, Lin Fei spoke lazily. I'm really tired. Lin Fei finally felt relaxed, but he felt extremely tired just now. Lin Fei stimulated his body with a breath and a sense of depression. Now that the matter is finally over, Lin Fei can finally feel a little bit of relaxation. Chapter 238 finally arrived at the manor. On the way back, sitting in the car, George McCaw frowned at Chen Crossing. He had really given up now. In the end, he still faced such a result. Hearing this, Chen Crossing smiled. Give you a quick death. Do I listen to you? Do you think everything can go as you wish? You killers are really too arrogant. If you knew this would happen, why did you do it in the first place? Result. After speaking, Chen Crossing stopped talking and began to rest silently. He was also recuperating. After all, the pursuit and fighting just now were extremely physically demanding for Chen Crossing. Climbing a mountain is a physical job, not to mention the high frequency and high intensity climbing of the two of them behind. Nalikemori looked at the bulging muscles on Lin Fei's upper body, and then looked at the wound on Lin Fei's left arm, and her expression was full of heartache for a while. Mr. Lin, are you okay? Oh, you, how could you be like this? This is too careless. I'll show you the wound later. While speaking, Lakemori reached out and touched Lin Fei's wound. It was not known whether it was intentional or unintentional. When Lakemori put her hand down, she accidentally touched Lin Fei's muscle. After feeling this situation, Lin Fei shuddered all over. Looking at Lakemori with a surprised face, I said, "What are you doing?" Can do if a person is handsome, especially if he has a good figure. There is even more nothing you can do if he is handsome. Hearing Lin Fei's words, Lakemori chuckled. No, nothing, Mr. Lin. I'll bandage you after I go back. I've learned emergency bandage treatment before. Let me bandage you so that the wound won't get infected. Hearing this, Lin Fei smiled helplessly. Can we change someone? This may not work. Our doctor is probably sleeping at this late hour. Hearing this, Lin Fei's head was full of black lines. What kind of nonsense is this? Still sleeping? You have such a big manor and such a big family. The health doctor must be on call 24 hours a day, and he can appear in time, even if he is sleeping. Otherwise, if something really happens, if you delay it, because of your sleep, you will die without knowing how you died. Forget it. I'll let Chen Crossing do it for me when I get back, and you can just give me the things when the time comes. Lin Fei could already feel the blazing fire in Lakemori's eyes. He was helpless. After all, he's a married man. Finally, more than 10 minutes later, arrived at the manor, Lin Fei couldn't help but admire the hugeness of the manor. The manor covers an area of at least hundreds of thousands of square meters. On the entire layout, there are all kinds of flowers, birds, fish, various rockery rivers, and various lake pavilions. All are available in the manor. The guards can basically be said to have reached the point where there are dozens of people in sight. There will be fixed point reconnaissance and patrols at every distance, and such a guard force surprised Lin Fei. It seems that this grand manor has really invested a lot of money. It's no wonder that, if a family with a market value of tens of billions survives in such a place, it really needs some guards. After all, these people are very powerful enterprise, rich enough to rival a country. Arrived at the center of the manor. Here is a huge villa. As soon as Lin Fei got off the car, he saw a man standing at the door. The man has a standard Western appearance, and his golden hair looks even more handsome. Especially with such a pair of gold-rimmed glasses, the man looks more gentlemanly. Great, that you two are fine. You don't know that I really can't wait any longer just now. I'm really anxious. I'm worried about what will happen to you two. Now I can finally see you two. As he spoke, the man came up, and beside Lin Fei, Chen Crossing also introduced him in time. This is Graham George, the current owner of the Graham Manor and the current patriarch of the Graham family. Hearing this, Lin Fei smiled and nodded, and then went down to greet him. After a unique Western greeting, Graham and George looked at Lin Fei in surprise and quickly pointed at Lin Fei's left arm. "Oh, Mr. Lin, what should I do? I didn't expect to encounter such a thing. I never thought that you would be injured. Leukemia, please contact the doctor immediately and help Mr. Lin bandage it. It is very easy to get infected." Hearing this, Lin Fei turned his head and looked at Leukemia. I saw that Leukemia's eyes were full of disappointment. Lin Fei suddenly smiled in his heart. This little girl was thinking about bandaging herself just now and said that the doctor didn't have time. As a result, when he met Graham and George, he directly asked him to arrange a doctor for him, which saved Lin Fei a lot of trouble. And just like that, everyone walked into the villa and looked at the very simple Western design style inside the villa. This European style is also very consistent with Lin Fei's aesthetics. When everyone came to the living room, just 2 minutes later they saw a group of doctors running over crazily. After the doctors came in, they began to search. When they saw that Lin Fei was injured, they hurriedly came closer and started to disinfect and bandage Lin Fei with various medicines in their hands. At this time, Lin Fei finally saw his miserable state. His left arm was already soaked in blood. It was covered with dried blood. A wound about a knuckle deep appeared, and the bones were about to be seen. The length of the wound was not too long, only 4 or 5 centimeters. After some disinfection and bandaging, Lin Fei felt that the wound was finally not so uncomfortable. After wrapping the gauze again, and then changing into the clothes sent by Graham and George, Lin Fei and Chen Crossing sat on the sofa. Next, it's time to get down to business. Chapter 239. Tomorrow's plan. For a moment, there were only 3 people left in the villa. Looking at Lin Fei and Chen Crossing, Graham and George frowned and asked, "What happened, you two? You don't know." When I heard Leukemia say that there was an assassin attack, I was shocked. It's really hard to imagine. What did you go through? Why were you chased by the assassin? Right to speak to Lin Fei. After all, there was no way to explain this matter. Seeing this, Lin Fei also smiled helplessly. "Actually, it's nothing, but some people don't like me and want to pay a lot of money to kill me. That person also thinks I'm too strong and too powerful, so he can't stand it." It's like this. Graham and George naturally knew that Lin Fei didn't want to explain too much, and such an explanation would let him know the reasons for some things. Thinking of this, Graham and George shook his head immediately. "I never thought that such an excellent person like Mr. Lin would be so envied by others. It seems that there are really many crazy people in this world. Yes, there are really many jealous people, but this person." Lin Fei suddenly sneered. "I guess he won't be able to jump for long." As he said this, Lin Fei's eyes condensed. In his heart, there was already endless anger. Of course, this kind of anger was not the kind that he wanted to show, but his patience with Zhang Qiang had finally reached its limit. What Lin Fei was thinking now was that he had to speed up again. Develop immediately. Lin Fei felt that if he had to deal with Zhang Qiang at this time, he might not be able to do it yet. Time. What he needed was time. He needed to work hard and strengthen his strength as soon as possible. Otherwise, God knows whether Zhang Qiang will do something for him later. By that time, if Lin Fei really didn't make any preparations, it would be a loss. Soon, Graham and George smiled. "Okay, Mr. Lin, it's time for us to talk about other things now." Looking at Lin Fei's wound, Graham and George was a little worried. "I am now very worried about such a wound on your left arm. Can you still prepare for the dinner tomorrow?" "After all, I can tell you with certainty that we have called all the important people in the family to the dinner tomorrow. These people are very important to the family. There are more than 100 people, and these people will eat Mr. Lin's food tomorrow. I'm very curious, with Mr. Lin's physical condition, can he show us such delicious dragon country food?" "Of course, Lin." Fei smiled confidently. Shaking his left arm, he felt that except for the tight gauze on his left arm, Lin Fei did not feel any discomfort. "Don't worry, Mr. George, I can do whatever I want. You can rest assured. I have to live up to the 1 billion you gave me, right?" "Haha, but, Graham and George smiled. "I am naturally happy to hear what Mr. Lin said. In fact, I really like people from Lango. They Speak straightforwardly and frankly, especially to people like Mr. Lin and Mr. Chen. I'm also very optimistic about them. If it is possible, I hope that the three of us can get together more often in the future. After all, it is a wonderful thing to know more friends from long ago. Feeling the olive branch thrown by Graham and George, Lin Fei and Chen Crossing naturally smiled. It is not a bad thing to be friends with such a family. Soon, Lin Fei picked up the white paper on the coffee table in front of him and began to write on it. For a while, Chen Crossing and Graham and George kept watching. They were very curious about what kind of ingredients Lin Fei would prepare. Of course, Graham and George did not recognize the Chinese characters written by Lin Fei. But when Chen Crossing saw the expensive or cheap ingredients on it, he was also a little surprised. Oh my god. Brother Lin, you have prepared too much. That's enough. I haven't finished writing yet. As he said that, Lin Fei continued to write. Lin Fei had already considered these ingredients before. Since they were already prepared, Lin Fei was also very handy in writing. Soon, 10 minutes later, Lin Fei finally wrote down every ingredient. Among them, the amount of each ingredient was also written very carefully by Lin Fei. Finally, after everything was written, the whole piece of paper was already filled with dense writing. Handed the paper over. Graham. George took it. Although he didn't know what the Chinese characters on it meant, he was also surprised after seeing the last number of ingredients. Mr. Lin, are you sure there are 312 ingredients? With so many dishes, can you really handle them? And I think the quantity of each should be very large, right? Of course, Lin Fei should be confident, since Mr. George gave me such a large commission and told me the importance of this banquet. I will naturally prepare a sumptuous banquet for Mr. George with 312 ingredients. Every dish is also very rich. I also hope that with these dishes, I can bring Mr. George a delicious feast from the Dragon Kingdom. After finishing speaking, Lin Fei showed an unparalleled confidence. Hearing Lin Fei's words, Graham and George suddenly smiled. He realized that he had done the right thing by inviting Lin Fei. He would finally taste the food culture of the Dragon Kingdom that he longed for again tomorrow. And just like that, Lin Fei and Chen Crossing left the villa, returned to the arranged residence, and prepared to rest. Lying on the bed, Lin Fei looked at his left arm and felt a little uncomfortable. But regarding the preparation of a meal for tomorrow, Lin Fei felt that there was nothing to think about. At the same time, for Lin Fei today, it's also a very happy day. His matter has been resolved, so George McCaw has received his retribution. He was taken away by someone arranged by Cheng Xing. By now, Lin Fei was honestly very curious. So what is Cheng Xing's identity? He was curious. And just like that, time passed slowly. When I opened my eyes again, the next morning came as promised. Early in the morning, as soon as he got up, Lin Fei heard a knock on the door. He got up, cleaned up, changed his clothes, and opened the door. But I saw the appearance of Lei Camry. Chapter 240, worth 1 billion. Start preparing. This Lei Camry, why is she looking at me with such a strange look? You seem to be hesitant to speak. What the hell are you doing? Helplessly, Lin Fei smiled. Hi, good morning, Ms. Lei Camry. I didn't expect you to get up so early. It's only 6 o'clock, right? Mr. Lin, you got up early too, didn't you? Lei Camry smiled, looked at Lin Fei's whole body, and didn't know why she looked a little disappointed. Oh, by the way, I'm here to sign our commission agreement with you. After that, Mr. Lin can set a time to start preparing. Of course I have arranged for you a full 30 chefs. They will obey your orders, and these 30 people are all from Lango. I am very familiar with Lango's dishes, so that Mr. Lin can be more handy. At the same time, Mr. Graham and George also wants to invite Mr. Lin to attend our dinner tonight. At that time, we will sit together and drink happily, and also to witness Mr. Graham and Sabo's birthday. Oh, so, thank you. As he said, Lin Fei invited Lei Camry into the room. After taking the agreement handed over, Lin Fei checked it. There is no problem with the agreement. Can make this money. After all, the family company needs so much money to develop itself. Lin Fei just has this money now. Why not? Soon, Lin Fei also signed the letter and looked at Lake Emily and spoke. "Oh, by the way, I would like to ask, what time does the dinner tonight start, so that I can arrange the time?" Hearing this, Lake Emily smiled. "Mr. Lin, today's banquet starts at 7 o'clock in the evening. At that time, I still have to trouble Mr. Lin to prepare more meals." 7 o'clock. Muttering to himself, Lin Fei nodded. "Okay, I know. Then I will officially start preparing at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. At that time, please call the chefs so that they can arrive in advance, and we will prepare these things as soon as possible." "Okay, Mr. Lin," said. Lake Emily looked at Lin Fei and left here reluctantly. This made Lin Fei helpless again. Alas, handsome people are prone to gossip. Seeing a hint of intriguing eyes in Lake Emily's eyes, Lin Fei was helpless. There was no way. Who made him look too handsome? Finally, 1 o'clock in the afternoon came, and Lin Fei got up and went outside. Just when he came to the door, he saw Lake Emily coming over. Under the latter's guidance, Lin Fei came to the back of the manor, where a huge kitchen appeared. The kitchen was very clean, and the stoves were neatly arranged. There were countless tableaux, and countless were all piled in their proper ingredients places similarly. Lin Fei also saw all 30 chefs appear. Wow. When Lin Fei appeared, all 30 people exclaimed. Everyone saw Lin Fei with admiration. Before, when they participated in the chef competition in Zixili Island, many of them watched. Even if they didn't watch it on the spot, they heard about such a thing afterwards, and then they all went to review Lin Fei's competition to end. Lin Fei showed his powerful carving skills and unparalleled knife and frying skills. It is really hard for everyone to imagine that Lin Fei would have such strength. "Mr. Lin, welcome. I didn't expect that the chef we assisted this time was actually you. It seems that it is really our honor. Mr. Lin's cooking skills are so good that we are willing to assist you." Haha. Hearing someone's words, Lin Fei was helpless. He waved his hand and said hurriedly, "Hey, everyone, let's not flatter each other. We are all chefs and have our own characteristics. There is no need for us to flatter each other, and I'm very happy that you can come to help me. I won't say anything else today. I'm very grateful to you. I also hope that everyone can follow the command today. Let's prepare these tables of dishes full of Dragon Country's delicious food together." Good. Hearing Lin Fei's words, everyone shouted. Everyone rubbed their hands and started to prepare. Lake Emily left at this time. She didn't need to pay much attention to the rest of the things here. She just needed to come back later to check on his progress. After all, the banquet at 7 o'clock in the evening also needed to be held as scheduled. Looking at Lin Fei again, he was not polite at this time. Everyone is from Lango, so they naturally cooperate with each other tacitly. Soon, Lin Fei divided according to the major cuisines. Speaking of the cuisine of Lango, if it is divided by province, it is divided into 8 major cuisines, but if it is divided by cultural schools, there are as many as 15 cuisines. For these cuisines, Lin Fei is going to prepare them all this time. Looking at Lin Fei smiled. "Okay, I'll start making arrangements. Everyone, just follow what I say and prepare the ingredients. After everyone that, I need 2 people to help me prepare the oil pan. There are many things that need to be fried in advance." Finally, Lin Fei began to make arrangements. How to cut each dish, and how many to prepare. Cut into pieces, strips, and shreds. Lin Fei arranged the dishes one by one in an orderly manner. His brain was running as fast as a computer, and everyone finally started to work in full swing. Hey, brother Lin, what's going on? I'm starving. Can you make it?" At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Chen Crossing came to the kitchen. Beside him, there was Lakomi. But, when the two saw that the chefs in the kitchen had taken a break at this time, the long chopping board about 20 meters long was already filled with various ingredients. But seeing that everyone was taking a break, especially Lin Fei, who was smoking a cigarette and chatting with some chefs about all sorts of things, everyone was smiling and chatting in full swing. Chen Crossing was a little surprised. "I say, brother Lin, what are you doing? Aren't you here to cook? Why are you still chatting here now? What's the hurry?" Hearing this, Lin Fei smiled. "Now, the ingredients are ready. I just need to wait until the time comes to start preparing." If it's ready now, won't the food be cold by 7 o'clock? What? Do you have to eat cold daily? Chapter 241. Impressive cooking skills. Feast. But, such a situation does seem to be a little unprepared. It's like giving up on oneself. Lake Emily looked at it and asked uncertainly, Mr. Lin, are you sure that everything will be ready by then? I see that everyone is like this now. I'm really worried. Don't worry, Lin Fei heard it and smiled very confidently. He can be said to be very confident in his cooking skills. Lin Fei can't guarantee other things. If he says that he cooks, no one can make him fail. Looking at the time, Lin Fei smiled. We plan to start in 10 minutes. Don't worry. There are still 10 minutes left. Let's rest for a while. Next, we will start to really get ready. Hearing it, Lake Emily shook her head helplessly. At the same time, Lake Emily was also thinking that she might only be able to wait slowly. Finally, 10 minutes passed. Putting out the cigarette, Lin Fei stood up and clapped his hands looking at the chefs around him. Lin Fei shouted loudly, okay, everyone, let's show our friends from Gramad Manor the cooking skills from our dragon country. To okay. While answering, everyone found their position step by step. Everyone looked serious. And Lin Fei also came to the main stove. Looking at the 5 pots in front of him, Lin Fei directly lit the fire. Instantly, all the chefs were excited and satisfied. After all, they were not there in person, so they didn't have that kind of shock. But now, everyone can finally see Lin Fei's performance like this tableau at the same time. Finally, Lin Fei waved his hand. Friends, let's start. After the words fell, Lin Fei picked up the oil bottle beside him with his left hand and began to pour continuously. 1 pot, 2 pots, 3 pots. 3 pots of oil appeared in each pot. 5 servings of green onion, ginger and garlic. After shouting, Lin Fei raised his hand directly. And the chefs around him, as if they had already cooperated, quickly handed over 5 small plates. On each plate, there were neatly arranged green onions, ginger and garlic. The garlic was chopped very finely, and the green onion segments and ginger shreds were even more uniform and extremely symmetrical. It is hard to imagine that the sautéing stage of an ingredient can also be prepared so meticulously. Lake Emily, who was watching from the side, had already been surprised entered the pot. To be honest, Lake Emily was very surprised. A person can be so meticulous in the preparation of ingredients. How can his cooking skills be worse? Where to go? Especially before, Lake Emily had eaten the food cooked by Lin Fei once, and she had a more memorable aftertaste afterwards. It was a pity that she could only coordinate the banquet tonight and had no way to eat on site. In desperation, Lake Emily hoped to sneak a bite later. But she didn't know that the preparation of these ingredients really exhausted these kitchen helpers. When Lin Fei told them these requirements very accurately, they were all shocked. This requirement is too high, right? And they finally knew, while Lin Fei prepared so many ingredients, a lot of them were wasted. Of course, Lin Fei also said that when the time comes, everyone can just fry something and eat it by themselves, and it will definitely not be wasted out. Sugar, sauce, spare ribs, corn, beef, potatoes. Lin Fei said all the ingredients one by one. At this moment, the chefs around him began to get busy quickly. The dishes were collected one by one in Lin Fei's hands in a tense and orderly manner. Every ingredient was prepared in advance, and even the deviation in grams was not much. In the dishwashing area at the back, the collected tableau was also being cleaned up in full swing. At the same time, everyone looked at Lin Fei from time to time. When everyone saw that Lin Fei's 2 hands had after images at this time, the flames in the pot were also rising rapidly. In Lin Fei's hand, the spatula was also dancing up and down frantically. Plate. Soon, a dish was ready. Lin Fei took a plate and shook the right hand holding the pot handle vigorously, and the food inside flew out. Instantly, Lin Fei stretched out his left hand. Wow. Amid the surprise of the crowd, everyone only saw that the dish, as if it had already found its target, fell directly onto the plate. Send the thermostat. After handing the dishes to a chef, Lin Fei changed to a clean pot. And this pot was taken to be cleaned. These dishes all need to be sent to the constant temperature cabinet. Only in this way can the original temperature of the dishes be maintained. After all, for hot dishes, if the temperature drops, it will greatly affect its taste. Stove. Number 2. Prepare for frying. Stove. Number 3. You can start blanching. Okay, following Lin Fei's arrangement. Suddenly, on 2 stoves, a total of 6 chefs opened 6 pots and began to work step by step. Fish flavored pork shreds. Give me the ingredients. Lin Fei continued to arrange one by one, and those chefs started to get busy at this time. Finally, time passed by minute. That Lei Kemei finally reacted at this time. I was actually fascinated by it, but don't forget that I still have a lot of things to do. Was completed. I was no longer worried. After all, looking at the whole kitchen, it was just like an assembly line, and Lei Kemei nodded with satisfaction. In the final analysis, it was Lin Fei's personal charm and cooking skills. He conquered these people with his cooking skills. Looking at Lin Fei's serious and handsome appearance at this time, and looking at the chef's enthusiastic eyes, Lei Kemei smiled. Chapter 242. The banquet begins. Delicacies from Dragon Country. At night, the sun has set, but the moon has risen as usual. Time, 6:50. In the kitchen of the manor, a group of chefs are busy at this time. The next thing needs to do is to cook their meals. Lin Fei and Chen crossing everyone were holding cigarettes in their mouths at this time. Looking at the countless dazzling dishes in the thermostatic cabinet in front of me, they all come in different colors, but each one is a work of art. Little greedy, and he suppressed his saliva from flowing down. Seeing this, Lin Fei had no choice but to hit him directly on the back of the head. Okay, kid, don't think I didn't know you just ate it secretly. We'll eat it at the dinner table later. Fine. Chen Xing was very helpless, but still listened to Lin Fei's words. Crunch. Finally, the kitchen door was pushed open. Everyone turned around and saw Lei Kemei walking over with a group of servants at the door. Mr. Lin, are the meals ready? Of course, it's time to serve. With that said, Lin Fei stepped aside, and soon, a group of servants came forward and took out the dishes covered with transparent lids and sent them to the giant dining car outside. Wow. Looking at these wonderful meals, Lei Kemei's eyes widened. Isn't this so beautiful? Is this the delicacy of the Dragon Kingdom? It's like a piece of art. Seeing such dishes, Lei Kemei once again refreshed his impression of Lin Fei. Lin Fei's cooking skills seemed to be beyond his understanding at this time. By the way, there are 15 small boxes. Please take them with you too. While speaking, Lin Fei pointed to the box in the corner. What's this? Lei Kemei asked doubtfully. I saw that the box was 1 meter long and 1 meter wide, and its height was about 50 centimeters at this time. Looking at it, Lin Fei smiled. You'll know when the time comes, right? While talking, Lin Fei came to the cabinet nearby and took out a dinner plate. There are some dishes here, as well as exquisite steamed buns. This is prepared for you. I heard that you won't be able to serve it to the table later. Now that you are not busy, you can eat it, or put it in a thermostatic cabinet and wait until the work is done before eating it. Really? For a moment, Lei Kemei became excited. He didn't expect that Lin Fei would prepare an extra meal for him. After taking the food and looking at Lin Fei, Lei Kemei's eyes were filled with tenderness. Mr. Lin, I really didn't expect you to care about me so much. I'm so touched. If you think too much, you will do too much. Lin Fei curled his lips and walked directly outside. HMPH. Ruthless. Watching Lin Fei leave, Lei Kemei pouted and stamped her feet. After putting the food in the thermostatic cabinet, Lei Kemei left amid the cheers of the chefs outside. Lin Fei and Chen Crossing got on the food delivery car, and the car headed towards the center of the manor very smoothly. Brother Lin, this Lei Kemei seems to be interested in you. Go aside and don't tease me. Lin Fei's head was covered with black lines. You know my relationship status. Of course I know, but aren't you also divorced now? Can you really bear it after so many years? Lin Fei was helpless. Otherwise, why do you think I have worked so hard for so long? Isn't it just to get remarried without any obstacles? Yes. Qin Feng listened and put his hands behind his head. I really envy the love between you two. Hey, tell me, what would have happened if you had rejected Zhang Qiang's threat? The children will be under a lot of pressure, and their parents will be smeared by Zhang Qiang in every possible way. Lin Fei's tone was heavy. Well, you're right to say that, but I'm really looking forward to it. When do you plan to take action against him? I don't know either. Lin Fei shook his head. My reputation and popularity are enough now. All I need is money. What I need is money that can completely overthrow him and make him unable to stand up. How many? Chen Xing asked curiously. Lin Fei frowned in thought, then spoke for a moment. Qingshan Entertainment's assets are as high as 4 billion. It is estimated that, if it is to be brought down, at least 6 billion will be needed. And by then, this money may only return 60% of the original capital, and 40% will be lost. So much. Chen Xing twirled his fingers. Good boy, I've never seen so much money in my whole life. You think I've seen it? Lin Fei pouted. Point. And soon, everyone came to the middle of the manor. I saw here that it was an open-air square point surrounded by rockeries, trees, and various small bridges and flowing water. There is everything you need. It is as wonderful as a paradise. Point. At this time, 15 tables also appeared here. Point. After getting out of the car, he directed everyone to bring up the dishes one by one, and also put the box in the middle of the table. Point. Beside each dining table, there were 3 servants from the manor waiting. Point. Time passed quickly, and finally it was 7 o'clock in the evening. Point. Looking from a distance, I saw a group of well-dressed men and women walking over. Everyone talking and laughing. Point. When everyone came here, they were all speechless when they saw that there were more than 30 dishes on each dining table. Point. This beautiful, Mr. Lin, is this the meal you prepared? Certainly. After listening to Graham and George's words, Lin Fei smiled confidently. I wonder if Mr. George thinks my dinner preparation meets your expectations. Of course it does. Huh. What's in the box? Haha, you'll know it soon. This Mr. Lin really knows how to tell the truth. Okay, then I will start the process. After a while, I will also trouble Mr. Lin to preside over the process of opening the banquet. Certainly. Watching Graham and George leave, Lin Fei and Chen Crossing stood there and waited. And soon, under everyone's attention, Graham and Sibo, the old man who brought endless glory to the Graham family, appeared. Important friends. One is Mr. Chen Xingchen. He was once my savior and my best friend. The other one is Mr. Lin Fei. All the dishes for tonight's dinner are prepared by Lin Fei. Next, let Mr. Lin preside over the opening ceremony. After listening to Graham and George's words, Lin Fei coughed lightly and then smiled. Everyone, I'm honored to be invited to this dinner, and it is easy to bring you these delicacies on such an occasion. Every table you have is filled with authentic local specialties from the Dragon Kingdom. Below, please ask the servants to take away the isolation masks. After hearing Lin Fei's words, the servants began to take action. And when the smell under the lid could no longer be concealed, the whole place was boiling. Chapter 243, Emergency. Yes, look at this dish. It's so beautiful, isn't it? This is simply a work of art. It's really unimaginable. How could a dish be made like this? Oh my god, is this the food culture of the Dragon Kingdom? It's really hard to imagine. Yes, this is the authentic Dragon Country cuisine. I have been to Dragon Country several times in the past, and the local specialties there still make me linger over it. Wow, I really didn't expect that today we would be able to eat this delicious Dragon Country food. This really makes me feel happy. For a time, a group of people at the dining table started discussing under such circumstances. For them, it is really rare to see such a meal. Today, everyone's mouths are really watering when they look at your delicious food. 38 dishes in total. Seeing that all the meals had appeared, Lin Fei smiled and immediately began to introduce them. These dishes are the representative specialties of our Dragon Kingdom. Today, I still want to thank Grandma George, who is also a good friend of mine, for the invitation. Without his invitation, I might not have the opportunity to bring you such delicious food. Okay, next, let me introduce to you that Lango's food is divided into many cuisines. It is said that it is divided into 8 major cuisines. Of course, there are also 15 major cuisines. The Meals we made today are also some of the iconic representative dishes of our Dragon Kingdom. They are sour, sweet and salty, which is enough to satisfy everyone's taste. Of course, these dishes all have wonderful flavors. I hope you like them. Of course. This time, for me, I naturally prepared a gift that is just for me. After saying that, Lin Fei smiled. Oh, for a moment, Graham and George was a little confused. Mr. Lin, I wonder what the gift you have prepared is. To be honest, I'm really curious. Ha. Ha. Lin Fei naturally smiled after hearing this. This is what I show you. I hope you like it. With that said, Lin Fei spoke. Please open the box in front of you. Hearing this, the servants in charge of each table nodded and then came closer. Following Lin Fei's command, everyone opened the box and immediately lifted it up. Wow. Little people carved from carrots. Each of these carved little people is so lifelike. This is me. Finally, at this time, someone shouted loudly. Pointy quickly stood up and picked up a small figure, his eyes full of surprise. This is me. Villain's eyes seemed to be alive. Similarly, Nagram and George also saw his own villain. Pointy was shocked. I have long heard of Lin Fei's carving skills. See you today. As expected, raising his head and looking at Lin Fei, George spoke in admiration. Mr. Lin, inviting you this time is indeed a wise decision. Thanks for your compliment, Lin Fei smiled. The villains here are all the members of the manor who attended the dinner today. They have also been specially treated. There is no need to worry about deterioration and rot. If you like them, you can take them back and store them. Of course, they cannot be eaten. Ha. Ha ha ha. Everyone laughed happily after listening to Lin Fei's words. Everyone couldn't put it down when they looked at this jade-like little man. Finally, following the command of Graham and George, everyone took their seats. Looking at Lin Fei, he was invited to the main table, which made Lin Fei and Chen Crossing a little embarrassed family. It was really a very high treatment for two people to come directly to the throne. Mr. Lin, Mr. Chen, right? I really didn't expect that George could recognize you two as friends. I'm really happy. Everyone has already entered the tasting stage. Everyone was full of praise for the perfection of this meal. They couldn't stop eating bite after bite. That time passed slowly. Everyone drank happily and was very happy. Finally, Nagram and Sibo picked up the wine glass and stood up. Dear family members, thank you Mr. Lin for bringing us such delicious food. At the same time, I'm also very happy that everyone can come here in their busy schedule. Today, Gramon Sibo began to express his gratitude. After saying a lot, Gramon Sibo directly picked up the wine glass and drank. Gulp gulp, cough, woo. As a result, just as everyone was drinking, Gramon Sibo suddenly had a problem. After coughing twice, Gramon Sibo directly covered his chest, his eyes widened, looking at it in disbelief, and his breathing became difficult. Father, what's wrong with you, father? Suddenly, Gramon George found something strange and raised his head immediately. When he saw Gramon Sibo's strangeness, he instantly widened his eyes and quickly put down the wine glass. Seeing that Gramon Sibo was about to fall, George quickly got up and came to support him. Hooala! And the family members around him also found out about this at this time, and everyone got up and hurriedly surrounded him. Quick! Call the doctor, something's wrong with my father. At this moment, George suddenly shouted. On the side, Lekomi saw this, and his face suddenly changed. He quickly took out his mobile phone and contacted him. Not good. His mobile phone, Mr. George, the doctor will need 2 or 3 minutes to come. What? All of a sudden, everyone panicked. Because at this moment, everyone had already found that Zibo's breathing was getting more and more rapid, and his face was slowly turning red. No, in an instant, Lin Fei stood up. It's too late. Let me do it. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 244, Help, Lin Fei takes action. At this time, when everyone was panicking, Lin Fei spoke like a life-saving straw. Instantly, the nervous group of people turned their heads in confusion. Everyone didn't understand what was Lin Fei saying at this time, and soon, Lin Fei had everyone already stood up and came to Graham and Sibo. Pat Graham and George. Lin Fei spoke, Mr. George, I hope you can quickly let disperse. Now, if we don't maintain good ventilation, and if I don't come to emergency treatment in time, Mr. Sibo may have a serious accident. What? This? Mr. Lin? George looked at Lin Fei in confusion. No time. Hurry. Lin Fei shouted instantly. Quickly turned his head and looked at the people around him, and Lin Fei spoke, everyone, hurry up, disperse immediately, keep ventilation. The manor is too big, it will take at least 3 minutes for the doctor to come. We don't have time, hurry up. Listening to Lin Fei's words, the people around him reacted immediately. I don't know who shouted. The people around hurriedly retreated, leaving a large area. Come, hand Mr. Zibo to me. Lin Fei will come forward without further ado. Listening to Lin Fei's words, Graham and George hesitated. After all, this is his father, and now there is an accident. George really doesn't want to hand him over to an outsider, although Lin Fei is his good friend. After all, he is still a person he has just met for a day. For a moment, George hesitated. His father now has this problem. George is very worried about what Lin Fei is thinking. And finally, just like this, Lin Fei moved. Chen crossing, help me watch, it's too late. At this time, Lin Fei saw that Zibo's breathing was slowly becoming difficult, and Lin Fei didn't want to waste time. If this is not resolved, the situation will be serious. So, Lin Fei quickly took action and chopped George's shoulder with a hand knife. Instantly, George's shoulders lost strength, and he let go of Zibo in his arms. Finally, Chen Crossing also moved and hurriedly came to the front and grabbed George directly. Looking at Lin Fei again, he quickly moved forward and instantly hugged Zibo in his arms. What are you doing? Seeing this, George even forgot the pain in his shoulder and was about to rush forward. Chen Crossing. Instantly, Lin Fei shouted. Crossing used a little grappling technique to directly control George in his arms. Throat lock. Looking at the surprised voices of the people around him, Chen Crossing spoke coldly. Don't come over. Chen, what are you doing? For a moment, George was surprised the surrounding manners did not dare to stand up. Now, the old patriarch and the current family have been controlled by someone. For a moment, everyone wanted to rush up, but they did not dare to act rashly. Brother. Lin. Facing George's question, Chen Crossing unexpectedly called Lin Fei. Well, Lin Fei turned his head and looked at Chen Crossing at this time, giving him an affirmative look. What is this? This time, Lin Fei no longer wants to talk nonsense. Lin Fei, who is proficient in medical skills, comes with those experiences. For Zibo in front of him, Lin Fei already knows what the situation is. After thinking about it, Lin Fei quickly hugged Zibo directly. Swish. Raising his left leg quickly, Lin Fei stepped directly on the chair, and he quickly put Zibo on his thigh. Zibo's abdomen was directly on Lin Fei's thigh, and his whole body was arched. Looking at Lin Fei again, he quickly slapped Zibo's back with his left hand. Woo. Instantly, Zibo groaned, but still did not make the next move. Damn. Suddenly, Lin Fei burst into a swear word, and his expression became anxious. This time, Lin Fei slapped Zibo's back again. Woo wow. This time, Lin Fei's movements were obviously faster, and the strength was also a little heavier. And finally, at this time, Lin Fei smiled, because he had seen that Zibo vomited immediately. Cough, cough, cough. Then came the strong coughing sound, and instantly, Zibo coughed out a mouthful of food. He opened his mouth and spat out the food directly. Hoo. As if relieved of a heavy burden, Zibo gasped for air, and the blush on his face due to the breathlessness slowly faded. Finally, Lin Fei let out a long breath. Slowly, Lin Fei helped Zibo up. Take up the water beside him. Lin Fei handed it to Zibo to drink 2 sips. Laughing, Lin Fei spoke. Old sir, I'm really sorry. It may have happened suddenly just now, and there is no way to explain too much. As he said, Lin Fei turned his head. Chen Crossing, let go. After speaking, Lin Fei looked at Graham and George, who were shocked at this time. Mr. George, I'm really sorry for being a little disrespectful before, but fortunately, I lived up to everyone's expectations. The whole audience was silent and was already surprised. No one expected. How did Lin Fei do it? Just 2 claps. He had already solved such an emergency. This surprised everyone. Mr. Lin, how did you do it? He actually make way. And everyone finally found out. I saw that the group of doctors came in from outside the crowd. At this time, these people ran over with sweat on their heads and anxious faces. Where is Mr. Zibo? Let me see Mr. Zibo. The leader shouted loudly. As a result, after looking around, they found that Graham and Zibo were sitting in the seat. Looking at this time, what's the matter? Chapter 245, Life-Saving Grace. Looking at the doctors in front of him, Graham and George was obviously unhappy. At this time, he was thinking that these doctors came too late. After all, his father had been urgently treated by Lin Fei, and these doctors arrived just now, and such a speed really made Graham and George a little dissatisfied. This shows an efficiency problem in their manner. At this time, Lin Fei and Chen Crossing, 2 outsiders, showed such efficiency here. Looking at the doctor again, he felt nervous after hearing Graham and George's words. The leader spoke. I'm sorry, Mr. George, the main thing. We are too far away from here. After the incident, we also rushed here. I didn't expect that it was delayed a little. While speaking, the doctor turned around and saw Graham and Zibo. Mr. Zibo, what's wrong with you? Are you feeling uncomfortable now? Do you need me to check for you? I think, cough cough. Obviously, his throat was still a little uncomfortable. It should be unnecessary. Just now, I have been treated by Mr. Lin. Thank you so much, Mr. Lin. I just felt that I could not bear the pain for much longer. Mr. Lin? The doctor was obviously surprised when he heard Graham and Zibo's words. Looking at Lin Fei standing aside, he always had this intuition that Lin Fei should not be an ordinary person you did just now. Also, do you know Mr. Graham and Zibo's problem? Of course. Listening, Lin Fei smiled. This is the confidence in the mastery of medical skills he has acquired. Just now, Mr. Zibo vomited because he drank too much. As a result, it was such a vomiting that he didn't react for a while. His inhalation, the vomit went directly into his trachea. That's how it led to a near suffocation. What? The doctor was surprised when he heard this. He didn't expect that it would be such a situation. Thinking about it, the doctor waved his hand and rushed over with a group of doctors around him. The doctor looked at Graham and Zibo and spoke. Mr. Very likely that, if it weren't for Mr. Lin's timely treatment, you would have disappeared now. Okay. Graham and Zibo was also surprised when he heard this. How could he have thought that he would face such a result? In fact, for him, although he has lived for 70 years, but he still doesn't see life and death so openly. After all, his family still has a lot of money to make. Zibo also hopes to see a better prosperity in the family in his career. In a moment, the doctors came closer. I saw that these doctors conducted a very detailed examination of Graham and Zibo. While Graham and George frowned on the side. At this time, he was not in such a good mood. After all, such a situation occurred. Graham and Zibo almost died because of this, which was a very serious problem for George. Finally, after a 5-minute examination, the leading doctor finally breathed a sigh of relief. Mr. Suffocation, I think I will treat you carefully tomorrow, but don't worry, I believe that such a thing will not have much impact on you. Okay, that's really troublesome for you, Graham and Zibo said very politely. And finally, just then, Graham and George on the side spoke. I think you came a little too late. What should we say about this? The doctors were embarrassed when they heard this. For them, they naturally knew such a situation. But in fact, they didn't expect it to turn out like this. However, they are also very grateful to Lin Fei. Turning around, seeing Lin Fei on the side, his eyes were full of gratitude. They knew very well that, if it weren't for Lin Fei, it would be very likely Of course, this does not mean that Grandma George will no longer be because of this. How could my father have suffered such a serious consequence? Don't say Mr. Lin is here. What if he is not here today? There are not so many ifs in the world. I spent money on you, and now, is this the answer you gave me? Is this the result after I spent the money? This, Mr. George, I'm really sorry. We were late. We will bear the consequences ourselves. Please punish us. The doctor was also decisive. Since he made a mistake and had such a serious consequence, he would naturally have to bear it. He didn't hesitate at all. It didn't matter to them how Graham and George should punish them, as long as Mr. Sabo could be safe. Looking at the doctors, Graham and George frowned, but then he was helpless. Forget it. You are lucky today. The appearance of Mr. Lin saved my father's life. If it weren't for Mr. Lin, the matter might have been serious long ago. You can be considered lucky, but I don't want something like this to happen again. Starting from tomorrow, all of you will be dispersed wherever you are. What I hope to guarantee is that if anyone has a situation in the future, you will be able to do so within a minute, or even he said he'd be there in half a minute. If something similar happens next time and Mr. Lin is not here, then if something happens, you will all be held accountable. Yes, the doctor responded. Please quickly. Mr. George, don't worry, we will definitely do what you arranged. The doctor suddenly beamed when he heard this. He also knew that this was exactly what Graham and George gave them. Did not delve into the responsibility point. After all, everyone has served for nearly 20 years, and such a qualification is enough to make up for the merit point in the end. The good thing is that there were no problems. Everyone had only one idea at this time. Lin Fei, what a life-saving grace for Graham and Sabo. Chapter 246, Zhang Qiang goes to berserk. Important meeting? Okay, you all go and stand by. You can just keep an eye on it for now. If there is any problem again later, you can deal with it immediately. The doctors retreated. Looking at Graham and Sabo again, he looked at Lin Fei and smiled. Mr. Lin, thank you so much. If it weren't for you, I might have died a long time ago. Thank you so much for today. You Dragon Kingdom people are indeed a mysterious and powerful nation. You are really omnipotent. Hearing this, Lin Fei smiled. Haha, I have some understanding. It can be considered that I have used it in the right place. I just learned these aspects of knowledge. Fortunately, the old gentleman did not have any problems, so everything will be fine. Yeah, if something really goes wrong, I don't know how to face our family. On the side, Graham and George also echoed, but fortunately, Mr. Lin made me discover a major problem in our medical care. Now, I think I can handle it better. Oh my god, I really didn't expect it. I didn't expect Mr. Lin to have such strong abilities in singing, acting, martial arts, and cooking. You Lango people, really it's a powerful nation. Mr. Lin, what else can you not do? Mr. George is exaggerating. This is just the tip of the iceberg. The 5,000 years of inheritance in the Dragon Kingdom have only happened to me. There are many more talented people than me, but I don't have them. Be seen by you. Yes, Graham. George nodded and sat down immediately. He looked at the people in the surrounding manor and spoke. Okay, things have passed without incident. Now, let's continue with our dinner. Okay, then I won't drink. Come on, everyone, let us celebrate such a happy moment. Regardless of whether today is Graham and Sabo's birthday or his recent resurrection from the dead, today is generally a happy day for a while. Everyone continued to drink happily. The whole dinner continued as scheduled until 11 o'clock in the evening, and everyone was already very drunk. Mr. Lin, Mr. Chen, I'll let Lei Kemui take you to rest first tomorrow. But, listen, Lin Fei, Chen Xing and I will naturally say no more. With that said, the two nodded and then followed Lei Kemui towards their residence. At this time, Lin Fei was also a little drunk. Walking side by side with the star on the side. Chen Xing looked at the sky and sighed. Brother Lin, I'm wondering, what else does your kid know that you don't know how to do? Do you want to tell me all of it together? I'm really curious now, because I found that my understanding of you is really incomplete. Is there anything else that you don't know about, such as medical skills, singing, acting, cooking, and Chinese martial arts? Haha, I want to know. You will know it gradually when the time comes. Now I'm curious about what is the use of this. If you have the time, why not do the things in front of you well first? Today's dinner was over. Lin Fei took out his mobile phone and looked at his bank card. 1 billion had already been credited to his account. For a moment, Lin Fei laughed. What a relief. Such a result is very important, and the money finally arrived at this time. Thinking about it, Lin Fei waved his hand, took the first 2 steps, and then entered his residence. As for Lei Kemo's hesitant look, Lin Fei didn't think much about it. How could he not know what she was thinking? It's just that he's just pretending to be stupid all the time. The next morning comes after getting up. Everyone packed up and headed to Graham and George's residence. When they came here, everyone had a hearty breakfast. Cheng Xing was taken for a walk in the manor by Lei Kemi. Lin Fei was taken away by Graham and George, and the 2 of them went to Graham and Sibo's residence together. Mr. George, what's the matter? Why is Mr. Sibo calling me? Haven't I already completed the task of the dinner? Isn't it because I have to prepare another dinner? As he said this, Lin Fei smiled to himself. It would be really fun to prepare another dinner party. Hearing Lin Fei's words, George smiled. Of course not. It's a good thing that Mr. Lin is going this time. You'll know when I take you there in a while, believe me. Oh, Lin Fei was quite surprised when he heard this and didn't know what it meant. After thinking for a long time, Lin Fei stopped, followed, and talking to George obediently. He actually didn't know that for him, this meeting would fulfill the most important thing for him, hateful. At the same time, far away in Lango, in a villa in Heizhou, a man, sitting in the living room, saw a notice on the entire killer ranking list, and his eyes widened. Angrily, he picked up the ashtray on the side and waved his hand fiercely. The TV on the wall was smashed by him in an instant. Zhang Qiang. At this time, Zhang Qiang never thought that things would turn out like this. He really racked his brains, but he couldn't figure out why his mission failed. A notification appeared on his mobile phone at this time. The top of the head was the world killer ranking. The content of the notification: from now on, no more missions to assassinate Lango people will be accepted. Such a notification made Zhang Qiang feel hopeless at the display that the handling fee in his bank card was refunded, and the rest of the hiring money was all refunded. Zhang Qiang already knew the result. Failed. The mission of the killer he hired to kill Lin Fei failed. As for the other party's current situation, Zhang Qiang had no idea. He only knew that he might not be able to deal with Lin Fei. What should I do? What should I do? In an instant, Zhang Qiang was very impatient and the whole person seemed very irritable at this time. He didn't expect it to turn out like this. At the same time, the emergence of this result also instantly disrupted his plan to destroy Lin Fei. Chapter 247. Amazing reward. He should still be living honestly now, but Zhang Qiang also has no news about him. And his secretary also left him in the end. Zhang Qiang was only angry about these people and did not repent for himself. Not at all. Lin Fei, you wait. One day, I will find a chance to destroy you, and you must not exist in this world. After saying that, Zhang Qiang began to smash things in the house frantically. Zhang Qiang was completely possessed by the devil at this time, and the whole person was very crazy. And all this was completely because of Lin Fei's appearance. And to say the whole story, it was all Zhang Qiang's own fault. Now, Lin Fei is getting stronger little by little and walking out of his plan little by little. This made Zhang Qiang feel a little dissatisfied. To say panic, Zhang Qiang was not too panicked. After all, he also knew that it was a fantasy for Lin Fei to deal with him now. He hoped to solve it as soon as possible. As for what the outcome will be in the end, Zhang Qiang still cannot know. Of course, he was also thinking in his heart that he must come up with a solution again. Only by completely destroying Lin Fei can he continue to live so safely and so wildly. But what he didn't know was that at this time, a plan to destroy him was slowly brewing. Following Graham and George, he came to Graham and Sibo's residence. Graham and George knocked on the door and only heard a response from inside. Then the 2 opened the door and walked in. Graham and Sibo's villa is also very simple, and it is the same style as Graham and George's. After walking in, he soon saw that Graham and Sibo was reading today's financial newspaper on his sofa. Well, haha, Thank you Mr. Zibo for your concern. Don't worry, I don't have any problem. This amount of wine is acceptable to me. Lin Fei's physique is different from that of ordinary people. This amount of wine is naturally nothing to him. Thinking about it, the two of them sat down directly at this time. Looking at Graham and Zibo, Lin Fei asked, Mr. To thank Mr. Lin. If it weren't for you, I would have gone to see God by now. Oh my god, that pain. I still feel uncomfortable when I think about it now. At that moment, I really felt death. I seemed to find that death was so close to me. Mr. Zibo, you are polite. Lin Fei smiled. Yesterday, if it was anyone else, if he knew what was going on, he would have taken action. You don't have to praise me too much. This is the good character of our dragon country. Lin Fei felt helpless. This old man, why does he always like to say thank you to me? If you say that to yourself, you have to show your sincerity. Don't worry about the reward, as long as it is valuable. Everything is fine. Give Mr. Lin a big gift. Oh, big gift? What big gift? Lin Fei was excited. Here it comes. The gift is here. Lin Fei was very excited. He couldn't figure out what the great gift Graham and Zibo was talking about was. However, the following word shocked Lin Fei. Graham and Zibo looked at Lin Fei and smiled, and then spoke. The great gift is, Mr. Lin, you can take anything from me. You can tell me what you want. Don't worry, as long as I can satisfy you, I will satisfy you. Oh, will you give me everything you want? At this time, Lin Fei was confused. When he heard this for him, it was a little exciting now, because he now thought of a possibility. Looking at Graham and Zibo again, he laughed when he heard this. Of course, I, Zibo, always keep my word. Mr. Lin, as long as you ask, I will agree to anything you want. Okay, I want 6 billion. Lin Fei said this in a decisive tone. After he finished speaking, he was still a little nervous, because 6 billion yuan would be enough for Lin Fei to fight a decisive battle. Oh, only 6 billion yuan? Originally, Lin Fei was still nervous, wondering if he was asking for too much. Who would have thought that Graham and Zibo would actually ask him directly? Only 6 billion yuan? Damn it. If this happened to someone else, he would definitely scold him for asking for too much, and for being crazy about money. As a result, for this family with trillions of assets, it is indeed like a drop in the bucket. This is not. Listening to Lin Fei's words, Graham and Zibo's eyes clearly showed a trace of doubt, and there was also a trace of a feeling of no pity. He probably also thought, just this little money? Seeing the surprise in Lin Fei's eyes, Graham and George smiled. Patting Lin Fei on the shoulder, he began to explain. Mr. Lin, your 6 billion is really nothing to us. It is just the income of our family for 1 or 2 weeks. On the contrary, this 6 billion can be exchanged for my father's resurrection. It is really too profitable, but I still suggest that you can ask for more other things. This 6 billion alone is a little too little. No, maybe it is too little for you. Lin Fei spoke decisively, but for me, it can save my life. You made 6 billion so easily, but this 6 billion is very difficult for me, and has given me a headache for a long time. Oh, I don't know why Mr. Lin said this. Hearing this, Graham and George Lin Fei saw Lin Fei's expression, and became very curious. Mr. Lin, I think, as your friend, I hope to know what happened, and I also hope that the two of us can become good friends who can talk about anything. Of course, if you really feel it is inconvenient to tell me, you don't have to tell me, and I will respect your choice. Chapter 248. On the way back, did you encounter robbery? Lin Fei smiled. At the same time, he was also thinking about himself. There is nothing to hide about this matter. After all, it won't be long before things are really exposed. His family. Cool. Finally, Lin Fei let out a sigh of relief and then smiled. Okay, you two, let me tell you the truth. Actually, after saying that, Lin Fei started to talk very calmly. Of course, what Lin Fei told was only a relatively general matter after all. For Lin Fei, he felt that there was no need to go into too much detail about such things. Of course, this still made Graham and his son a little surprised. You two, this is my story. I don't know what the 6 billion means to you, but to me, it is money that can reunite my family of 3. After saying that, Lin Fei smiled. Thank you Mr. Graham and Sabo for helping me. I think if I really have this money, then my wife and I will definitely be able to get together again. This. The father and son listened and looked at each other. Both sides saw surprise in each other's eyes. After all, they rarely see such a thing. It can be said that the Graham family has been absolutely smooth sailing for so many years. In terms of relationships, let alone that. For a moment, Graham and George sighed with emotion. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect Mr. Lin to have such a story. But having said that, I really know something about that Miss Tang Xintang. George admired. Unexpectedly, it turns out that Miss Tang is Mr. Lin's lover. It seems that you two are really powerful. One is omnipotent and the other is a national goddess. You two are really well matched. Haha. Listening to George's praise, Lin Fei felt a little embarrassed. Hi. I said Mr. George, I'm really embarrassed when you praise me like this. I just happen to be good at it. I know it a lot. In addition, there are people who praise me and support me. It's a coincidence. What? A coincidence? I don't think so. Graham and Sabo laughed. This morning, I also got to know Mr. Lin a little bit. I found that Mr. Lin is really omnipotent. If you do this just in time, what will other people say? This. Haha. Lin Fei listened, scratched his head, and laughed. And soon, Graham and Sabo also turned his head and looked at George beside him and spoke. George, put 10 billion on Mr. Lin's card. This is also to thank Mr. Lin. What the hell? Lin Fei was confused. Very meow. Are you still raising the price yourself? It's no use asking for so much money. Lin Fei simply didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He doesn't even know what he wants so much money for. You 2.10 billion is too much, right? What Lin Fei was thinking was, even if you have money, you can't squander it like this. Is the Trillion family really so short of money? As a result, Graham and Sabo smiled and waved. Hi. Mr. Lin, you don't need to say anything more. To tell you the truth, our family invests basically every day, and the capital flow far exceeds tens of billions, and the money is also distributed all over the world. Today, I feel that the 10 billion given to Mr. Lin can be considered an investment. I have a hunch that in the future, Mr. Lin will definitely not be an ordinary person. Our family loves to make friends. In this case, why not make friends with Mr. Lin? Well, Lin Fei was helpless. Is there anyone special who spends 10 billion to make friends? However, Lin Fei was really excited to receive so much money because not only could he deal with Zhang Qiang, but it could also make Lin Fei's group take off instantly. In this way, everyone continued to chat for a while, and Lin Fei also talked about some culture from the Dragon Kingdom. Finally, half an hour later, 10 billion funds were credited to Lin Fei's card. Looking at the bright number 0, Lin Fei felt that all this was like a dream. If he hadn't pinched him and almost screamed, Lin Fei would have cried. Mr. Lin, how about you rest a few more days in the past few days? Then I will take you and Mr. Chen around. I happen to have nothing to do recently. Let's go and appreciate the customs of Eagle Country. Okay, then we'll have to trouble Mr. George. It wouldn't cost much, so Lin Fei didn't refuse. Otherwise, Lin Fei would definitely be embarrassed. And just like that, in the next few days, Lin Fei and Chen Crossing had a lot of fun in Eagle Country under the leadership of Graham and George. Time came to August 19th. Early in the morning, Lin Fei and Chen Crossing got up early, had breakfast, and left the manor with the farewell of Graham and George and his son. Yes, today, the two will return to sat together. Chen Crossing said, after returning, you must fight back, right? Do you need my help? That's not necessary. Even if you go, I'm afraid you can't help much. By the way, Lin Fei asked, when do you plan to ask me to help with your matter? I'll take Crossing Xian along with me then. Plane took off, and the two finally set out on the way home. The next day, August 20th, Lin Fei appeared at Nan'an Airport early in the morning. After learning that Lin Yao was brought to Maniuan village by Ou Muj to participate in the Great Beauty Village, Lin Fei saved himself the trouble of picking up his daughter alone. After taking a car to Maniuan County, Lin Fei, who was a little hungry, planned to find a restaurant here to have some breakfast first. As a result, just after he came out, after eating and drinking, an accident happened. Let go. Help. Robbery. Lin Fei frowned and looked at the alley on the side. Chapter 249. Too weak. For a moment, Lin Fei became confused. He could hear it clearly in this voice. Someone is encountering difficulties. The anxiety inside definitely doesn't look like he's faking it. And, from what I heard, someone robbed me. This world is really so interesting. I didn't expect that I would encounter a robbery after just eating point. And he also heard it at this time. He was curious and wanted to see what was going on. And soon, as Lin Fei walked into the alley, he saw a man running crazily from the alley, about to rush out. In his hand, he was holding a large backpack, and his eyes were extremely panicked, and his steps became chaotic. Appear here at this time. Could it be that? Is this person here to help? Hateful. I finally opened it today, but was it stopped by someone? For a moment, the man couldn't help but frowned when he thought about this situation. Looking at Lin Fei, the man stopped in his tracks, frowned and spoke. Boy, what do you mean? Do you want to meddle in other people's business? Oh, looked at it. I saw that this man was quite thin, and his eyes were also sly. Looking at it, Lin Fei was thinking, didn't he just want to meddle in other people's business? As the saying goes, when the road is rough, draw your sword to help. Ha, are you nosy? Boy, do you have the strength? Cause you a bloody disaster, which will be more than worth the loss for you. The man was a little dissatisfied, but he didn't expect Cheng Yaojin to show up halfway. Looking at Lin Fei again, he naturally didn't care. Lin Fei shrugged and looked at the man very calmly. And finally, at this moment, from the innermost part of the alley, a woman ran out quickly. The woman was dressed in casual clothes, with an extremely anxious look on her face. She looked even younger and cuter with her ponytails. Fei extremely anxiously and shouted loudly, as if she had seen a savior. Little brother, thank you. He stole my most important thing. Can you help me? The things in the backpack are very important to me, please. As she spoke, the woman's eyes were full of prayer. When Lin Fei saw it, she could imagine how important the contents inside were to her. Thinking about it, Lin Fei smiled. Could I ignore it? What? Instead, at this moment, the man spoke. Boy, are you desperate for your life? Do you know the saying that stealing a chicken will result in losing the rice? Ouch. Lin Fei was surprised when he heard this. I asked, are you robbers so well educated now? Do you know all the idioms? You. Stop talking nonsense. The man was ridiculed by Lin Fei and suddenly felt that he had lost all face. When had he ever thought that as a robber, he would be ridiculed by others? For a moment, the man was extremely angry. He looked at Lin Fei's eyes widening and then touched the back of his waist. I saw him pull out a dagger from his waist. The man rushed towards Lin Fei madly, his eyes full of anger and his movements extremely fierce. Under such circumstances, he already knew that Lin Fei was really planning to confront him head on. Lin Fei felt cruel in his heart. Little brother, be careful. Behind him, the girl was suddenly shocked. Something is going to happen. I didn't expect this robber to touch this guy. Looking at Lin Fei again, he didn't care at all. He saw the robber rushing over with the big backpack, and soon, he came in front of him, and the dagger also stabbed his shoulder. Lin Fei smiled. Too slow. After fighting Cheng Xing once, Lin Fei discovered that many people were too weak. Why do you still come out to rob like this? So, Lin Fei moved. With a quick sideways movement, he directly avoided the dagger attack. Immediately, Lin Fei squatted down again and quickly disappeared from the man's sight like a ghost. At this moment, Lin Fei moved forward and used an iron mountain support. The shoulder instantly hit the man's abdomen bag. Seeing such a situation, the girl was immediately frightened and shouted listeningly. Lin Fei was surprised. It seemed that this bag should be very important to her. So, Lin Fei moved again, with his left foot in a lunge, and his right hand quickly stretched out, and grabbed the backpack that was about to fall. What? Is there something important in your backpack? While speaking, Lin Fei also waited loudly. I only felt that the backpack in my hand weighed at least 20 kilograms, and I didn't know what was in it. Looking at the girl again, she finally breathed a sigh of relief when she saw that her backpack did not fall. She walked forward quickly and saw that a hand was about to grab the backpack. Be careful. Move. Lin Fei forcibly picked up the girl and adjusted the girl's position. Seeing the robber's dagger miss, Lin Fei felt a little dissatisfied. He quickly raised his foot, and his right foot was powerful and heavy. In this kick, Lin Fei used 40% of his strength. The sole of his foot also kicked the robber instantly. Suddenly, feeling the powerful force, the robber actually flew backwards. He flew 3 or 4 meters and finally hit the wall behind him. Bang! Sounded. This sound was extremely dull. Under the severe pain, the robber slid down from the wall, and at this time he felt that he had lost all his strength. The severe pain made him lose a certain degree of combat ability. Chapter 250. The clothes are torn. Lin Fei let out a long sigh and was secretly shocked. Just now, he was really a little careless. He should have given the other party a fatal blow. But seeing that the other party was thin, Lin Fei did not use much strength. Now it's good. It almost caused a big mistake. Lin Fei felt a little scared when he thought of what had just happened. If he hadn't reacted, this girl might. Alas. It seems that he should pay more attention in the future. At this moment, Lin Fei suddenly heard the girl's lifelong scream. Suddenly, Lin Fei frowned. What happened? Did something unexpected happen? It shouldn't be. Just now, Lin Fei saw that the robber should not have succeeded. Thinking of it, Lin Fei quickly turned the girl around, still shouting. Are you injured? Sorry. It's really my fault. Really. This time, within the reach of Lin Fei's eyes, he saw that there was a cut on the white t-shirt. Obviously, it was just cut by a dagger. Through this cut, Lin Fei inadvertently saw the clean and fair skin on the back point, but he actually found no wounds. Damn, Lin Fei was helpless. Why are you screaming? Aren't you okay? For a moment, Lin Fei was helpless. Waste your feelings. It's great to have good skin. When the little girl screamed just now, Lin Fei thought something had happened to her. But now, fortunately, it was a close call. At the same time, the girl suddenly became shy, and her face flushed, and she gave Lin Fei a coquettish look. You're still looking. Is there anyone like you? Hey, it's not like I saw something I shouldn't have seen. What are you afraid of? While talking, Lin Fei took out his mobile phone and called the relevant security personnel. 3 minutes later, the relevant security personnel came, controlled the man, and also asked the girl about the process before and after. We have been stationed here for many days, just waiting for him to fall into the trap, but I didn't expect we finally caught him today. This kid finally got his retribution. After hearing the other party's words, Lin Fei didn't want to dwell on it too much. Thinking, Lin Fei looked at it and waved his hand. Okay, the matter has been resolved, then I should leave. Wait a minute, sir. Oh, what's wrong? Is there anything else? Hearing the girl's words, Lin Fei turned around in confusion, with a faint smile on the corner of his mouth, looking even more handsome. This is quite different from the girl's restraint at this time. Looking at the girl again, after seeing Lin Fei's smile, she looked at Lin Fei carefully. Moved. Soon, she also put on her school bag to cover the gap on her clothes on her back. The girl looked very nervous. She grabbed her backpack strap with both hands, came closer, looked at Lin Fei and spoke. Brother, I don't know what your name is. Can I treat you to a meal? The things in this bag today are really important to me. You helped me so much, and I really want to thank you. Want to thank me? That's not necessary. Lin Fei answered like a steely man. I still have things to do. I just hope you can be more careful next time. Since you are talking about such valuable things, don't take this road again. This road itself is very dangerous, isn't it? Then, brother, how about this? The girl pursed her lips and still spoke nervously. I'll leave my phone number. If you need my help in the future, please tell me boldly. As long as I can do it, I will definitely help you. As she said that, the girl took out a note from her backpack and wrote on it quickly. Finally, the girl handed the note over. Seeing Lin Fei take it, the girl quickly stepped back 2 steps, with a hint of shyness in her eyes. It was also the first time for her to give such a note to a boy, and it always looked a bit out of place at this time. Lin Fei, on the other hand, smiled helplessly, waved his hand after taking it. Okay, then I'll go, but remember, you may not have any good luck next time, so be careful. Seeing that Lin Fei was about to disappear from her sight, the girl shouted loudly, "Little brother, my name is Dan Wan Yu, what's your name, Lin Fei?" Lin Fei waved his hand, and the figure turned around the alley and finally disappeared from Dan Wan Yu's sight point. I don't know why. Dan Wan Yu felt a sense of loss when she saw Lin Fei disappear. She always felt that she seemed to have lost something. As for Dan Wan Yu's thoughts, Lin Fei naturally didn't pay too much attention. At this time, he had already boarded the car to Maniuan village. Finally, half an hour later, Lin Fei returned to the village. Walking on the road, the air around was fresh. Walking on the winding path in the village, Lin Fei was moved. He felt that the scenes he had experienced during this period of time seemed like a dream. Everything was really going so smoothly, and so many things happened one after another, and for Lin Fei, it was so ordinary. According to the time, it is estimated that the beautiful village should be closed soon. Right, to quick steps. Finally, after a few minutes, Lin Fei saw his residence in front of him, and the mushroom house next to it. As a result, just when he arrived at the door of his house, Lin Fei heard a familiar voice from the side. "Oh, SYNOPSIS is back. Why didn't you tell us when you came back? We went to pick you up." Listening, Lin Fei smiled. Yes, the one who spoke was He Yun. At this time, He Yun still looked like that, wearing an apron, and seemed very busy. And he was also surprised to see Lin Fei appear. Unexpectedly, Lin Fei came back so quietly. In the kitchen, Huang Fei, who was busy preparing breakfast, also heard such a sound. Thinking of this, he hurried out. Looking at Lin Fei, Huang Fei spoke. "Hey, SYNOPSIS is back. I said you should be back these days, but I didn't expect you to come back so early in the morning. How is it? Have you eaten? Come over to eat later? Okay. Then I won't be polite later." Lin Fei had already eaten breakfast, but facing such an invitation from Huang Fei, he naturally had to give some face. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.